Upgrade to the performance you need on all Maytag major appliances during May is Maytag month, happening all month long.
Maytag month is going on.
The early game
with Bill Gunter.
What is it? Today is, I believe, the 132nd running, if I'm looking correctly, of the Boston Marathon. Now, of course, the Boston Marathon started to honor the great Paul Revere for his midnight ride.
Paul didn't run.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
I was hoping that Terry and Jen were listening to that because that's factually not true. That is, I think I tricked you, but no, the Boston Marathon was not started to honor Paul Revere for his midnight ride.
And Jen Jensen.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Up and at 'em. Time to get going on a Tuesday morning, May the 16th. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunter, Jen Jensen. It is the early game, and we will get you started on a Tuesday that saw some interesting college football news slowly coming out on Monday. ACC is having their spring meetings. Preston Thorne, I present to you, would any formulation of 7 teams in the ACC be referred to as the Magnificent Seven?
What a silly name. What a silly name.
That's where I start you this morning, the Magnificent Seven.
This wasn't Quentin Tarantino made the Magnificent Eight, I believe. Was that a movie?
I think you're right.
Okay, the Magnificent Eight was a movie. This is a dumb idea. Who greenlit this just from the start of the name? If they would have said, hey, listen, Preston, we want you to join this radio show. We're going to call it the Magnificent Three. I said, no, thank you. I don't want to be a part of that.
It wouldn't have made it past that, huh? No.
There can't be anything else past that. And I even had a hard time even looking into the actual story just because of how silly it sounded. It just sounds like they're really grasping for something. They really want something to happen.
Well, we know what they want to happen. They want more money.
Of course.
However they are going to get it, whatever it takes, they are the ACC, the main schools, and really it's Florida State and Clemson leading the charge. Miami's kind of standing behind Florida State, poking its head over the shoulder of Florida State like, yeah, we're right behind you.
Tell them.
Yeah. North Carolina and North Carolina State are kind of back there going, yeah, we'll follow you guys.
Yeah, because even within the Magnificent Seven, it's like, oh yeah, we're the Fab Five of the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, it's
the Awesome Two of the. What are
Virginia
we doing?
Tech's back there going, well, we really haven't done anything lately, but we'd love to be a part of this if you guys will have us. Yeah,
we'd like to offer this 2000 national championship.
Yeah. Remember Mike Vick, guys?
He was here for us.
Yeah, he might have some kids on the way. You never know when we can really get back and play. It's an interesting story. We'll get into some of that as ACC spring meetings are taking place. We'll talk a little bit about that. Some more information on Oregon and Washington kind of creeping out slowly as it pertains to maybe them leaving the Pac-12 and heading to the Big Ten. I will admit the person that I'm kind of going to for all this is Brett McMurphy. He has been as good as anybody's now with the Action Network. He's been pretty much as good as anybody in college football over the last several years. His tweet that we're kind of referring to right now, Clemson, Florida State, Miami, North Carolina State, Virginia, Virginia Tech are the Magnificent Seven ACC schools, sources have told Action Network. These schools, as Ross Dellinger reported, have met in the past several months with lawyers examining grant of rights to determine just how unbreakable it is. The ACC deal runs through 2036. So nothing hardcore, but what we're now starting to get is a group of 7, as they want to be called, the Magnificent Seven, now really taking in the landscape of, I guess you would say, mainly college football, but college athletics, and saying, we're in trouble, guys. And Florida State really being the one that's most outspoken. So we'll get into that a little bit this morning with Preston. You look primed for just another.
I'm so ready.
Just primed for another one. So good. We'll set you up with that. Yesterday, and I've got to go back and find the text message, but I think this is another one that Preston is going to get kind of, I don't want to say worked up. That's probably unfair. Worked up means you're in complete disagreement, but you want to discuss a little bit. At the very end of the program yesterday, we got a text in from Justin, and it was referring to ends, defensive ends versus edge rushers. And he's got a very kind of a lengthy text in breaking it down, and I'll read that to you and let you get into that a little bit there and give us, as a former defensive lineman. Now you're just a civilian, not even in a defensive lineman's body. Just you've just changed.
Unfortunately, still in a defensive lineman's body.
Oh, okay.
Trying to remedy that.
Giving you credit, but
no,
so
we're trying to get that right.
But we'll get into that a little bit this morning. JC Sherbert we'll get into some recruiting and some college football. Brett McMurphy again. Brett McMurphy was on fire yesterday on Twitter, just putting out content left and right, just keeping me entertained. He put out his way too early, although at this point I don't think it's way too early, but he put out his bowl projections. I'll continue to do this because I think it's an interesting offseason where we're going to be split on just where South Carolina's expectations are going to be, Preston. I've already brought that up with the 6.5 victories, according to FanDuel. We've talked a little bit about bowl destinations. I'll give you what Action Network projects today it projects as of today, and let you tell me how that makes you feel, because a lot of people are out there going, hey, we got to get to 8. Some people are saying, no, I understand. Schedule's tough. We're still kind of young. 7 is acceptable. Shane Beamer's overachieved the first 2 years. There's bound to be a little bit of a correction on that. I'll read you the bowl projection for Brett McMurphy and the Action Network and let you decide where you fall in that. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us if you want to be a part of the Firehouse Subs text line or the Love Chevy phone line. Speaking of which, did he disappear? Or was he just called to check on you?
Yeah, I guess he must have needed to hung up or something. Gamecock Larry needed to hung up. Oh, listen to me. He is still in the hospital. Was asking for prayers and stuff like that. He said, don't know when I'm going home. I don't know. I think they've got a schedule of taking blood between 4 and 6 every morning. I said, yeah, that's about right. Yeah, good. But anyway, so he's staying in there, staying fired up. But hope he gets out soon.
Hanging in there. So we'll get into all that today. Also get into just a little preview. See if Preston's now maybe more entertained by the NBA now that we get to the conference semifinals. The Nuggets, the Lakers, the Heat, the Knicks. We'll see if that draws Preston's attention a little bit. The Heat, I said Knicks. The Heat, Celtics, the rematch. That will not get going till tomorrow night. But tonight, you got Lakers, you got Nuggets. For, I guess, us East Coast people, it's about as good as you could ask. 8:30 tip time. See if the NBA starts to pique your interest just a little bit. Also tonight, it will be the NBA draft lottery. I read an article yesterday. This unicorn. Have you paid much attention to Victor
Wembanyama?
Have you read much on him?
I have.
Very interesting story. Incredible pedigree with the parents. Parents were elite athletes as well. Height runs in the family. This is a 7'3", 7'4", 7'5", essentially wing player. I mean, this is Kevin Durant, just basically in Manute
2.0.
Bol's. Yeah, Manute Bol's body basically is what it is, because I've seen him listed as high as 7'5". I think Bol was 7'7". So a lot of sports to get into. Again, South Carolina baseball tonight. If you want to weigh into that, JC Sherbert due up here in about 50 minutes. But up next, I'll let Preston rail against the Magnificent Seven.
And you're not going to even talk about the Sports Illustrated cover model?
Thought about that. Preston, have you seen the new Sports Illustrated cover model?
I have.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Where's that thing? Is that the appropriate?
Just not sure where to take it. If it was the 9 to 12 show or the noon to 3 show.
It's a lovely. The aesthetics of it, the artistry is very nice, and I like the fact that they're not just counting on, an 18-year-old to be the
Mhm.
model. So that is cool. But I just didn't know if you had an immediate thought or something, or if that's one of those things that we just launch and go way over.
If you're wondering who we are discussing, the most recent Sports Illustrated swimsuit cover model is a former jailbird,
81-year-old.
is a good friend of Snoop Dogg's,
Mhm.
and has what is it, a clothing line or a designer? What is Martha Stewart have?
Everything.
Yeah, it's really.
Okay,
Yeah.
all encompassing,
Mhm.
all in
Houseware
kitchen.
type things, cooking.
Martha
Yeah.
Stewart is your yep, and I saw the pictures last night, and
They're tasteful. It's not-
tactfully done.
it's not-
Tastefully
Absolutely.
done.
It's
Listen,
just a
I'm
different
here. I'm
concept.
here for I'm against ageism. So
Yes.
listen, we want to include everybody in the shenanigans. But here's what's the real problem: Sports Illustrated is running a racket because there was a time when the swimsuit issue came out once,
It's true.
and
Oh.
they're doing this all the time because I just saw that Angel Reese was on the Sports Illustrated cover not too long ago.
She was on the, but I don't.
Or that was
think
the SI Now. See what I'm saying?
Mm.
They're
Is-
running.
is-
They're running a little game here.
Is Angel Reese? I did see that. Is she in the
See?
swimsuit
See?
or on the cover?
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you're right. It was a once a year,
Mhm.
like about May or something that it would.
They're running a racket, Bill.
Mhm.
I know a racket when I see one.
I'll be honest. I never got into the swimsuit edition. I don't know if it's because it never made it inside the house. Like, I don't know if somebody acquired it in the family before it could get to where I would collect the magazines or the birthday cards or Christmas card. You
Mhm.
know, we had an area in our house, and I'd get the Sports Illustrated Spurs and Feathers, the old Spurs and Feathers. Preston, do you ever remember the old Spurs, the paper edition?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, that would come, and you'd fight for that. For whatever reason, that swimsuit edition never made it to that little mail area that we had. And so, to be honest, I was a lot older than most before I realized they had a swimsuit edition.
Good job. Good job, Dad, Bill.
803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in this morning. That was a right turn that I didn't see
there
us
we go.
taking.
Now
That
we're
was-
off.
I'm here for you.
We're
We're off and-
we're
we're
off
off to
and
the
running.
running.
We'll get
Mhm.
back into, we'll talk some stuff as we roll along. Welcome in Tuesday morning on the early game, 107.5 The Game.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer.
At 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
If you are in the market for a brand new vehicle, there's no better time than to get out to Love Chevrolet. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Love Chevrolet has taken care of families in the Midlands for over 60 years, and they've done it the right way. They do not sell above MSRP. They offer you the absolute best deal anywhere. They even offer you the $1,000 low price guarantee that allows you to go and shop other dealerships, bring their deal back to them, and they will top it, or they'll write you a $1,000 check. Hasn't happened yet, won't happen anytime soon. But offering great prices just isn't the best way to do it. Not only is it the only way, but you got to have some other things that's going on. And at Love Chevrolet, 14 acres of brand new Chevys. Not just the best prices, an incredible selection. And then on top of all that, a sales staff that is absolutely second to none with their knowledge, with the way they treat you, the way they take care of you, walk around, answer your questions. Let's be honest, it's a big purchase when you go purchase a new vehicle, and the folks at Love Chevrolet understand that. So they're ready to help you. They want to make sure you're comfortable with this purchase. They want to make sure you have the best selection, the best price, and again, they want you to be happy. So go visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison, between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. You can visit them on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. The droughts continue, folks. The Philadelphia 76ers, blown out by Boston, haven't reached the conference finals since 2001. Then the Edmonton Oilers were eliminated by Vegas, and for the 30th consecutive year, no Canadian team will win the Stanley Cup. So what's next for Joel Embiid, James Harden, Leon Draisaitl, and Connor McDavid? Changes need to be made. I'm Boomer Esiason.
I had a nighttime routine for my frequent heartburn. I would drink milk, I would sleep upright with more pillows, but that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill each morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. With Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. What, still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. Air filters, brakes, headlights, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Sponsored by Take 5 Oil Change. At Take 5, they're faster than you think. That means they'll change your oil and have you back on the road before you can count all the change in your center console. Cha-ching, baby. Just sit back and relax while their fast, friendly team does all the work. Take 5, the stay in your car 10-minute oil change.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks is always adding exciting cocktails to the menu, like the expertly balanced Cincoro Hall of Fame Margarita. Try it at your local lodge today.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code KIND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code KIND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code KIND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
We get it. Your search for a new career seems never ending. Until now. Here's your chance to join the Cumulus Media digital sales team and put that search to an end. You'll be able to showcase your growth with a position where the harder and smarter you work, the more you'll earn. Cumulus Media Columbia is looking for motivated, energetic, and tech-savvy individuals who are looking for an exciting opportunity. Whether you are new to sales or an experienced rep thinking about the future, go to this station's website and click on Cumulus Careers to apply. Cumulus Media Columbia. Boost your career today.
107.5 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The Early Game with Bill Gunter.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
And Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
So we're working with the conference right now. We're talking to them about how we create a revenue distribution model that takes in factors of who you are, how you produce, how you play, what your brand is. Working with other athletic directors on that. I know the president and I sat in some meetings on it. So we're working with the conference. Don't know if we're going to get there. Don't know what the revenue redistribution model will make that up. I know it won't make that up, but what can it make up? So they're working on options, but at the end of the day, for Florida State to compete nationally, something has to change.
That's actually from back in February. Florida State Athletic Director Michael Alford talking about the need for change in the ACC. I'm just going to go ahead and prepare you now that this has come out on May 16th. For probably the next 2 months, this is a lot of the discussion. If you get grizzled with this, if this makes you angry at 6:30 in the morning, I got really bad news for you, because I do think, Preston, we are in the final stages of the realignment, so to speak, of college football and maybe college sports as a whole. I think within the next 3 to 4 years, everything that's happening, transfer portal, NIL, football realignment, maybe the breaking away of football from the NCAA, everything, we got the new college football playoff coming down the pipe. I believe you'll see it. Say, you ever seen the movie? I think it's The Day After Tomorrow. You ever seen that? Dennis Quaid's in it. In the movie, older movie, I should say, probably last 15 years, but in the movie, you get the big ice storms that come through, and it basically resets the world, and it's a brand new ice age, and it's all because of climate change. And they're all like, okay, now we're starting brand new again, basically. I feel like that's where we're heading, like with college football. Like, you got the big climate change and everything. We're going to start from day one. We're going to start all over. It's going to be college football 2.0, and it's going to start right here with conference realignment, because then the conferences will dictate NIL rules. They'll dictate the college football playoff. If you look at what seems to be happening, Preston, it feels like we're heading to an NFL-style model of NFC, AFC, but it'll be the Big Ten and the SEC. I mean, that feels like where we're heading here. I've never had this, because we haven't had to do it just yet. I've never had this conversation with you as it pertains, and since you played and you're more intimately involved with it, you understand it, players. How do you see college football continuing to evolve? And even when you hear this, let's just say in 5 years, there's no more ACC. Let's just eliminate the ACC. You can say, well, it's a lesser conference than the SEC. You can say it's lesser than the Big Ten. The ACC still, for people around here, because South Carolina participated in it, has rivalries with North Carolina. So seeing the ACC completely disappear, would be a sad day.
Yeah, it would be a day that you have to reckon with that, because that means what we once knew as our little baby, our little niche sport that we all loved, is becoming increasingly commercialized, monetized, and this is the process of that happening. This is what it is. This is if this is a new day, the concepts of amateurism, the idea of student athletes, all we're doing is speeding down a professional track, except for one glaring problem with the professional track. We're negotiating a whole lot of money, and I still don't hear many of these schools clamoring to pay any of the athletes. So this is where it gets really interesting to me, because we're negotiating, grabbing media rights with the intent to redistribute. I kept hearing the word redistribute. Many of these places have no intent to redistribute to the athletes. So I'm interested to see where it goes.
803-404-6100. Todd has not had his coffee this morning. He's confused. He says, doesn't matter what changes in the landscape of college football, change of offense, change of defense, NIL, transfer portal, expand the playoffs. The one constant is the University of Alabama. Spell check got him. He should say the University of Georgia. And then spell check got him again. He meant King. He meant King Kirby, not King Nick. His spell check got him. Alabama's a has-been. They're down there. Baseball teams cheating. Basketball players are doing whatever they're doing. Football hasn't won a championship in 2 years. And sorry, Todd, it's King Kirby, and it's the University of Georgia, who yesterday, by the way, picked up another 5-star quarterback.
Yeah, man, they pried him out the cold fingers of Marcus Satterfield from Nebraska. So, it's a big get.
Out on the message board yesterday, the Nebraska message board.
I've been on Husker Central a lot lately, so they pried him away from Nebraska, and congratulations, Georgia, I guess.
The person yesterday, though, this is what I'm saying is true. Now, again, I'm reading message boards, but Dylan Raiola, 5-star quarterback, might be, depending on where you look at. I know Dylan Stewart, the defensive end out of Maryland, is the number 1 recruit, like on Own 3. But I believe Dylan Raiola is right up there in terms of 1, 2, 3. 24/7 Sports, I think, has him here as the composite number 1 player overall, 6'3", 220 pounds, out of Phoenix, Arizona. Pinnacle High School, which I believe, I'll have to look this back up, I believe that is potentially Spencer Rattler's high school.
Ooh, so you're saying there's a chance?
No.
Oh.
No. But yesterday, it's Dylan Raiola's uncle, who played for Nebraska, is now the offensive line coach. They were ready to fire him.
Yeah.
He wasn't even going to make it through. Like, they're like, oh, we hired you with one written, not to coach the offensive line, but to bring your nephew in with you.
Definitely an odd staff meeting. Walking in and he's like, hey, Marcus, how you doing, man? He's like, what's up, Dominic? What's going on? Well, nothing.
Donovan Raiola is in his second season as Nebraska's offensive line coach. A lot of people thought, being retained by Matt Rule was the big reason there to land top 5. We'll just say number 1 in some recruiting rankings, but instead he'll go to Georgia. Georgia. Now, the one thing about, again, transfer portal. All right, Gunnar Stockton.
Is there a chance?
Remember when Gunnar Stockton was the rage? Yeah, Gunnar Stockton, you're on the clock now, along with Brock Vandergriff and all those people there that Georgia and Kirby Smart, King Kirby, as Todd needs to refer to him from now moving forward. Sorry, Todd, Alabama has lost their status there. It's now King Kirby and the University of Georgia. 803-404-6100. But to go back, I mean, Gene says it, and I'm 41 now. I forget that, and it does feel Gene's text is correct. I miss when college football was simple.
I understand the sentiment behind that. However, in reading about college football, at this point, the 40-year-old if you were 40 years old in 1980, you would have been saying the same thing. You would have been saying, I miss the days when it was simple, when they'll win one for the Gipper or something like that. This thing continuously progresses. There have always been issues. I'm currently reading a book about how Teddy Roosevelt saved football, and essentially they were going back and saying how Harvard and Yale, they were a bunch of savages, and there were people lamenting the easier days of football. So I understand what you're saying, but that's always been a thing.
It is going to be interesting to see where it goes over the next really 60 days, because you do have some television contracts coming up. You have, again, you're going to have SEC meetings that will get going in 2 weeks from today. Now, the thing that I will be most interested to come out of those, we should get the new scheduling format complete with your opponents, your 3 permanent opponents, going to a 9-team schedule. So you're going to see this, I think, really over the next 60 days leading up to media days for all conferences, because there's going to be questions. All right, what's happening with the Pac-12? What's happening with the Big 12? Those 2 conferences, can they sustain? Can they, maybe one of them, the Big 12, you would assume, maybe merge with the ACC to try and create more of a super conference and have some kind of pool to be able to get a better television deal? We'll continue to watch that. I'll give you a real quick when we come back. I will also tell you about a television development yesterday that may mean something for the South Carolina-North Carolina game. We now know what time TCU and Coach Prime are going to play on September 2nd. I'll tell you that time, and we'll discuss that, because some college football discussion. Not bad in the middle of May. We can get into it.
We can take it.
Baseball tonight. Did get a text from Rich asking if there's an update on Cole Messina's hamstring. We'll check into that as well this morning. Got some Mark Kingston from yesterday on the halftime show. Let's hear a little bit about that as well. 803-404-6100. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
We are very social.
At 107.5 The Game on Twitter, 107.5 The Game on Instagram, and 107.5 The Game on Facebook.
Oh, Teddy, did you get my friend request? I'll have to check.
Your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
It is about to be summertime in Columbia, and they have come up with the nickname Famously Hot, or the mantra for Columbia, and that's not because of the Sports Illustrated magazine covers that's making its way around. It's because of the temperature. You need to make sure your heating and air is working properly, and if not, it's time to call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. That's the easy way to get in touch with the comfort advisors at AAA Heating and Air, who can help get you a brand new heating and air unit today and help save money. They can even get it in your home as soon as tomorrow. Right now, because of the Inflation Reduction Act, you can have tax credits of up to $3,800 when you purchase a brand new heating and air unit. And on top of that, AAA Heating and Air has the absolute best deals in town. It starts with a $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit. That's right, $1,500. So if you add that into the $3,800 that you're saving with the tax credits, you can get savings of up to $5,300 when you make that phone call today. 803-677-1500. Again, speak with the heating and air advisors there over at AAA Heating and Air. They'll tell you exactly what they can do and give you a free estimate. On top of all that, AAA Heating and Air offers you a 15-year parts and labor warranty to go along with 0% financing for qualified buyers. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. Contact AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Get ready to save with Spectrum One. You get Spectrum Internet delivering fast and reliable speeds for $49.99 a month. Free advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced privacy and security. And a free Spectrum mobile line with unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G. Go to spectrum.com/save more and use the Spectrum One savings calculator to see how much you can save today.
Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Ricardo, quote, "This is one of the greatest inventions ever. I know this may sound like I'm exaggerating, but this sucker is amazing. The first time I did it, I couldn't believe what came out of my sinuses. I could breathe with ease. My wife just bought one too. Thank you for this product," unquote. He's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
I'm Bridget Condon with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. After months of uncertainty, the Jets finally have their quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. Now the next question is, will their dynamic running back, Breece Hall, who tore his ACL last season, be ready for action week one? General Manager Joe Douglas told PFTPN that Hall remains on track in rehab, saying, quote, "He's in a great place right now." Matt Ryan, who is currently a free agent, has spent 15 seasons as an NFL quarterback, but for now will be trading in his helmet for a headset. The former NFL MVP will now be an in-studio and game analyst for NFL on CBS games. Ryan pointed out on Twitter, quote, "This is not a retirement post." And Saints general manager Mickey Loomis says Michael Thomas can become a 100-catch wideout again. Back in 2019, the former All-Pro reset the single-season record for catches with 149. He's caught just 56 passes in the last 3 seasons combined. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $16. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Dazzling decal on Daisy's Donuts window. Bold banner at Barry's Barbershop. Prominent poster at Penny's on Park Place.
This is your sign. Well, signs. To try Staples and see the difference. Get $15 off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more.
from Staples, and I couldn't miss it.
N617. Visit staplesconnect.com/printbig for details.
1075 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
Traffic moving along fairly well this morning. That's good news. We do have a disabled vehicle. Might slow things down a bit. I-26 westbound there at exit 111, or otherwise known as Highway 1. Forecast for today, 88 for our high, 85 tomorrow. Could see some late storms both today, or should say tonight, and then maybe tomorrow night as well, some isolated storms. And we cool down a little bit to 73 for Thursday with some showers around. Right now, it's kind of nice. It is 63 at 107.5 The Game.
What we're talking about on 1075 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Well, for those guys, for the Lee Croy, for Wimmer, for McGillis, hopefully soon, it's just going to be a matter of getting those game reps. We hit off the machines regularly. That's something Monty has been doing with our guys all year. So when we first got here, that was a jolt because that hadn't been done much before we got here. But these guys have been doing that the great majority of the year. So for those guys, it's just of getting your game timing back. And that's a hard thing to do in the SEC, the pitching we're facing. It's hard to just go from not playing for weeks and then hop in there and take SEC at bats. So just going to take a little bit of time. It's going to require a little bit of patience on our part till those guys get their timing. Because again, the goal at this point is to be at our best in that NCAA tournament.
That's Mark Kingston yesterday with Jay and Terry on the halftime show. John Willis, a couple of y'all were asking, the Cole Messina thing was just a cramp. But Preston, so you've had cramps sometimes. Ooh. Not doesn't mean you bounce back 2 days later. They can hurt. I don't know if Cole Messina is definitely on the lineup. So that's what I meant earlier when I said we'll check. Like, I don't know if he's definitely in the lineup tonight or it's kind of a to be decided or anything. But cramps aren't.
It's an acute injury, very much so. There's usually not too much long-lasting effect of a cramp, maybe some soreness if it was very bad, but it can take you down for sure. Yes. For sure, it's debilitating for sure.
Well, and that's why if he were given a few more days, but I'm assuming having to fly back from Arkansas, having 1 day, and then they might just want to make sure, hey, big series this weekend. I would assume Cole Messina's in the lineup, but yeah, John Whittle had reported on Sunday night that it was nothing to do with the hamstring, just a cramp. So good news for him on that standpoint. And you would expect him back. He should definitely be back this coming weekend. 803-404-6100. Real quick, I mentioned this again. Brett McMurphy just all over the news yesterday, just covering everything, just hitting everything. One other thing that he reported yesterday, TCU will host, we know this, TCU will host Colorado to start the season on September 2nd. Fox has the rights to that game because of Big 12. Fox will make that their big noon game to start the weekend, whatever they're calling it, big game noon. What I forget how
noon.
Whatever they're labeling at it. And it looks like that's exactly where they will have their pregame show. I'll admit I'm again simpler times. I stick with College Game Day. I don't like sit there for 3 hours, like just intently watching, waiting to hear Lee Corso's complete breakdown of the defensive ends versus the offensive line. I have it on in the background. Yes, I think that the Big and Rich song is starting. We're coming to your city, starting to be a little played out. Might be time to
come into your city,
break into something else. But yeah, Colorado and TCU set for noon kickoff on Fox. All right, what does that matter? You knew South Carolina wasn't going to be on Fox. I think you look at the games that day. I don't know how South Carolina, North Carolina doesn't end up.
Now you've been on this.
It's a big game, and it ties in with a few of the other little storylines that I feel like we're slowly developing as we go into the summer about the importance of this year. I think the importance of this year is more in terms of continuing recruiting, building momentum in recruiting is what I see. You go out and you win 8 games. If you win 8 games, but Spencer Rattler's having a pretty good year. Nobody's going to blame you if you lose to Georgia on the road. Nobody's going to really blame you if you lose to Clemson. If you lose to Tennessee on the road. Look, Texas A&M is really talented. I don't know what they're going to be. Nobody's going to get really fired up. But if you win 8 games, but in those you're competitive doing it. If you can take Georgia into the fourth quarter, if that Clemson game comes into the fourth quarter, and everything's fairly competitive, and you win 8 games and you go to another big bowl instead of the Gasparilla Bowl that Brett McMurphy has pegged you for early on, I think recruiting continues to take another step up, and you possibly get a top 10 class. You stack what was a really good class on top of another good class. You see the point? Like, that's what I see. If you go 6-6, I think kids are a little bit more likely to look around and go, this day and age, maybe I'll go with some of the. I mean, South Carolina right now is fighting the brand names in recruiting. You're not fighting the Georgia Techs and the North Carolina States and the Virginia Techs like you were. A lot of these are Ohio States, Georgias, Alabamas. You're fighting schools like that, and so you have to take the step forward in recruiting.
Yeah, you think about the ideas of, they always talk about in sports, windows of opportunity opening and closing. The window is open right now for South Carolina, for them to make advancements, for them to continue recruiting at a high level. But just as easily as it opened, it can very much be shut with a subpar performance this year. And the question is, I guess the crux of the question is, would 6-6 be a subpar performance? I think I'm ready to go on the record and saying yes.
Okay.
Right? I think I'm here for that, because the more I think about it, they have the most important piece, which is a quarterback, barring injury. And if you have a quarterback, especially in today's college football game, you have an opportunity to win games. So they're telling us we have a quarterback. We've seen that we have had a quarterback in the last 3 games, especially. This is the time to strike. This would be an opportunity to move forward and gain ground on those teams that they're chasing.
803-404-6100. We'll continue talking about that. Still want to get into the edge discussion there, and Preston wants to go into some evolution discussion, just hopefully sports related.
We'll try and keep it a holding in a row.
Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines, and David wants to weigh in this morning. David, how you doing? What's on your mind?
I'm doing pretty good. I like your idea about coming up with the two big conferences. If that comes to fruition, which I could definitely see it happening, how long do you think it would be before they wanted to expand and add more games? And do you ever see the possibility of recruiting kind of go by the wayside and college have a draft like the pros do? Take it off there. Thank y'all for what you do.
Appreciate the phone call, David. I don't, but again, Preston, you've been around it. You still kind of talk to people that are in it. Maybe you understand the evolution of what we're going through or what we may see. I don't think the recruiting thing ever comes to fruition. Just I think they like what they've got there. I do think the two conferences it seems to be shifting at this moment with a Big Ten and an SEC, and maybe you got some lesser conferences. But your take?
Yeah, I mean, that's where it seems to be going, into this idea of mega conferences or super conferences. And inevitably, that's going to be more efficient. There's going to be more money, and it's going to be less exciting. That's just what's going to end up happening. It's going to be less charming. There's going to be less of the quirkiness that we love about college sports, but it will make more money, and it will inevitably probably be a better product. But it won't be as fun. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, it's all speculation as to what it's going to be, and as soon as we get actual football, like when we can really break down Drake May versus Clayton White's defense and Spencer Rattler versus Gene Chiswick's defense in August.
I forgot that was a matchup.
Yes.
Oh man,
the Chiz is up in Chapel Hill. So yeah, but when but this is it's the silly season. It's the talking season. Now, I think there is some element of what we're talking about. You have an eye on the future and go, boy, how would I like to see this shape out? What do I want to see? I kind of put that on Twitter last night. Look, in terms of if the SEC, and right now it looks like the Big Ten is being the aggressor. Hey, all right, we're going to go get Oregon and Washington. If Greg Sankey and the SEC are sitting back, I mean, they pulled the Texas-Oklahoma thing off without almost a peep being mentioned about it. So it wouldn't shock me if the SEC's kind of already lined up North Carolina and a Virginia or a Clemson and a Florida State. Or
That's what's interesting to me, because we on the outside, us here in Columbia, South Carolina, us civilians, we don't know where these conversations are. These conversations could be very close to the finish line. They could be midway through. They could be just starting. We never know. By the time we heard about Oklahoma and Texas, they were like, oh, yeah, and we're doing that tomorrow. And you know what I'm saying? So these deals happen.
And Southern Cal UCLA, I was on the golf course in in Cherokee when that happened. I looked at my phone. It was like, and then now in this day and age with Twitter, you're like, I got to verify this account, make sure this isn't just some hack account.
Adam Nexter, Adam Heffler,
Brett McMurphy with 3 T's.
Exactly. Brett McMurphy's.
Multiple. We'll continue to talk about it. It's interesting. 803-404-6100. We'll get into some Preston evolution.
Well,
concepts.
this builds into this conversation of maybe pining for simpler times when maybe that was never the case.
803-404-6100 is the early game on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game on demand podcast menu.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
I tell you what, it is getting nice and warm in the afternoons, and it's time for you to head home after a busy day of work and relax in your pool. Oh, it's dirty. Now you say you can't go do it. You were busy this weekend. Mother's Day, you didn't have time to clean it. You're busy this week. You got to actually work. You got to take the kids to baseball practice. You need somebody. You need a professional. You need an expert to come and maintain that pool to help you save time. And you need somebody who will do it for a great cost. That'll help save money. Corley Pool Solutions is that company. Tracy Corley, with over 20 years of experience in the pool maintaining industry, is ready to help you today. Because again, you've got that busy schedule. You're trying to get to work today. You got to deal with maybe baseball practice. Maybe someone's got dance tonight. You don't have time to come home and start trying to maintain your pool. Corley Pool Solutions will do it, and they'll do it for a flat rate cost, including the chemicals. Give them a phone call today and get that maintenance scheduled so this weekend you can start using your pool and relaxing, grilling out, having fun with the family. 803-445-8109. Again, 803-445-8109. Corley Pool Solutions will inspect your pool equipment weekly. They'll make sure it's operating properly. They'll test, treat, and again, maintain your pool, and they'll do it for a flat rate cost, including the chemicals. So give them a phone call today. Get that maintenance lined up. 803-445-8109. That's Corley Pool Solutions.
Sponsored by Security Federal Bank, helping people, changing lives since 1922. Member FDIC.
If you think all banks are the same, come experience the difference at Security Federal Bank. Security Federal Bank has unmatched customer service and a hometown feel because we're a hometown bank. Security Federal Bank, helping people, changing lives. Member FDIC.
Sponsored by Dairy Queen.
DQ presents The Sound of Summer Calling. Hey, it's me, Summer. You gotta get to DQ for the new Summer Blizzard menu, like new peanut butter puppy chow and the return of s'mores. Okay, see ya. Get it in the app. DQ, happy tastes good.
Not even the most well-kept homes are immune to termites, so call Dodson Pest Control. With over 75 years of experience, they will make sure your home is looking good inside and outside your walls. Visit DodsonBROS.com to find an office near you. Dodson, the pest professionals you trust.
It's not too late for a deep spring cleaning on your home. Give my friends at Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning a call. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. Book online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
Get ready to save with Spectrum One. You get Spectrum Internet delivering fast and reliable speeds for $49.99 a month. Free advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced privacy and security. And a free Spectrum mobile line with unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G. Go to spectrum.com/save more and use the Spectrum One savings calculator to see how much you can save today.
Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Liner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
If you're thinking about retiring soon, be sure to tune in to Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby of Preservation Specialists, Sunday mornings at 10. Join Pat as he talks about the latest trends and headlines that could impact your retirement. Listen Sunday mornings at 10 to Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby. Securities offered through Arcadios Capital Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Arcadios Wealth. Preservation Specialists and Arcadios are not affiliated through any ownership.
Sponsored by Express Employment Professionals. Take the stress out of your job search. Visit expresspros.com for jobs from a variety of industries. With more than 860 locally owned offices, the Express team is ready to help you find your next job. Go to expresspros.com.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Really no major slowdowns right now. That's good news. Hope traffic continues to flow well for your morning commute. 88 for the high today. Some late storms are possible. Isolated storms tomorrow. 85 for the high. And some showers around on Thursday. Looking for a high of 73. 63 with the sun peeking out right now at 107.5 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Eight 803-404-6100. About 2 minutes left in this hour. Let's dedicate them to a man who knows how to make predictions. Gamecock Larry on the Love Chevy phone lines. How are we feeling this morning, Larry?
I'm feeling okay. But Bill, why do you keep saying we're going to lose to Georgia and Tennessee? We're not going to lose to Georgia and Tennessee. We're going to go 10-2.
Hold on. Just to clarify myself, I didn't say we would. I just said people would understand, like if they would understand those laws, right? Like we wouldn't understand the loss to Mississippi State. I won't understand that one. New coach, home game. But I'm just saying those games, Georgia, Tennessee on the road. Is that okay?
Okay. We're going to win both of them. But you just made me change my mind. But, oh, Lord, Clemson don't want to come to the SEC. We don't want Clemson in the SEC. And I'm all mixed up, Bill. You know how it is. They don't come and take the usual morning blood, so I'm just laying here. But everything going to be all right. But we don't want Clemson in the SEC, and Clemson do not want to come in the SEC. And we're going to win at Tennessee, and we're going to get Georgia a big surprise, and it might be a win. That's about all we got to say, buddy. Love all y'all. Go Gamecocks.
Appreciate the phone call. There you go. I'll just say that I don't know if I want to get on this path because you're just I have no problem with Clemson in the SEC. Like, I really don't. I'm all for great football. Now, if I had if you made me pick, if you were like, hey, out of those ACC, the Magnificent Seven, Preston, that we started, I'd kind of rather see North Carolina, Virginia Tech. I already see Clemson every year.
Okay,
we play them
right.
every year. I'd rather let me see North Carolina. Let me get to make some trips up to Blacksburg. My dad used to make them way back in the day. There's nobody I've ever spoke to that said that we used to go to Blacksburg back in the 80s that said it was a bad trip.
The only thing, Bill, is that now that we've beat Clemson, I welcome them into the SEC. When we were not beating them for that stretch of time, all we had was the fact that
we were in the SEC.
That's all we had.
Okay.
But now that we beat them, they can come on.
We'll welcome them. Yeah, I have no problem with it. Who knows if it'll ever happen, but we'll speculate on it. You may not like it. Hour 2 on the way with J.C. Sherbert.
Columbia. This is defensive lineman Alex Hunley, and you're listening to Home of the Gamecocks 107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus media station.
I'm proud to work for Volvo Cars because we're helping build a safer, more sustainable future for everyone. My name is Tamara Thompson. I'm from South Carolina, born and raised in Sumter. I'm a quality launch supervisor at the Volvo Cars plant in Ridgeville. I'm helping build the new Volvo EX90 here. At Volvo Cars, people are at the center. We feel supported, recognized, and feel like we can grow our careers. And we're hiring. Apply now at readysc.org/Volvo.
No manufacturing experience required. Must be 18 years or older with a high school diploma or GED.
Hi, I'm Glenn Matthews.
And I'm Melanie Matthews.
And we are the third generation owners of Modern Exterminating Company.
In a time when corporate consolidation, high-pressure door knockers, and inexperienced startups are becoming the norm, isn't it nice to have an experienced, local, family-owned company that you can count on since 1955?
Modern Exterminating has been the local, independent industry leader in the pest control business for the last 67 years. Experience the local, family-owned difference for yourself at 803-765-2315 or pestfreesc.com.
Family is comfort. It's care. It's a safe place. It seems when you need help, you can always count on family. At Broom Heating, Air, and Electrical, they are a family you can depend on and have been for 53 years. Heating and air is their passion. Customer service is their pleasure. And when Broom Heating, Air, and Electrical are in your home, your family is theirs. For an appointment, call 803-754-9409 or visit their website at broomheating.com.
I'm Robert Pulliam, and my company, Pulliam Restoration, is Columbia's leading commercial water restoration company. Restaurants, hospitals, doctors' offices, multi-story office buildings, or even warehouses call us for their water emergencies. Our equipment is preloaded and ready to go anytime, day or night. We pride ourselves in getting to you in minutes, not hours. An emergency to you is an emergency to us. Remember, we're ready 24/7. Pulliam247.com or call us at 803-PULLIAM.
Wilson Kibler is Southwest's top homegrown commercial real estate firm. Wilson Kibler was founded in 1987 right here in Columbia. They are a full-service commercial real estate firm handling sales, leasing, investments, and property management services. Their team of professionals is dedicated to client success, whether it be buying or selling a property, leasing space, investing, or property management. Talk to Wilson Kibler first. Call Wilson Kibler at 803-779-8600 or find them at wilsonkibler.com.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring correctional officers, nurses, food services, facilities maintenance, mental health professionals, law enforcement officers, teachers, and more statewide. There are sign-on bonuses for officers, food services, nurses, and law enforcement officers. South Carolina Department of Corrections has great employee benefits like 6 weeks of PTO accrued yearly and police officer retirement. Start a rewarding new career today. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
There's no better place to catch a game on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium. Visit thegamecockclub.com today to secure your tickets. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, winner of the annual Mark of Excellence Award for best-in-class customer experience, and home to the Silverado, the #1 selling retail full-size pickup in America. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. The early game.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
Here's the problem with that 9-minute average. Once you're running 9 minutes, you're no longer trotting. You're running.
Yes.
Also a problem.
So this is the cocky trot. I'm gonna need you to slow down a little.
With Bill Gunter.
I'm an
It is
expert.
the
I'm an
trot,
expert
yes.
in trotting, and that is not trotting. That is running. Full on. very close to sprinting.
And Jen Jensen.
The theme of this show. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Eight 803-404-6100. We've covered several topics this morning so far, discussing a little bit of Brett McMurphy's tweets yesterday as it pertains to some college football news. The Magnificent Seven, as they are being labeled.
Which, by the way, was the actual name of the movie.
It was the
movie
Magnificent
was
Seven?
Magnificent Seven, yeah.
Okay,
So even worse.
They're really just a Quentin Tarantino movie waiting to happen. But out of the ACC, we'll get into that some this hour with J.C. Sherbert. We've talked a little bit about South Carolina's baseball. They will play tonight again, take on Charlotte here at Founders Park, 7 o'clock first pitch. Cole Messina, I don't know whether he's going to play or not. That's all. I would assume. As a matter of fact, the injuries, because it was a cramp, there's really no need to address it. You would assume he's going to be back, but my luck, I'm like, yeah, he's back tonight. And then it turns out at 7 o'clock, you're like, oh, he's not in the lineup. But as far as we know, he's good to go. We've talked a little bit about that. Even slowly started the snowball's path of who would you want in the SEC out of this Magnificent Seven. So we'll do all that. But one of the first topics we had that I will now ask our guest, J.C. Sherbert, joining us from thebigspur.com. J.C., have you had a chance to see the new swimsuit, Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition with Martha Stewart on it?
Boy, that's a loaded. You're trying to get me canceled, Bill.
I told Preston off air. I told Preston, I said, how do you want to handle this opening question? Preston goes, go for it. I didn't tell him what it was. I just said, go for it. So I said, well, all right. Well, it's no fun bringing you right in and saying, hey, what do you think about, running back recruiting? I figured we'd just throw that one out there. The Sports Illustrated. Also knew I had to be careful because the 7 a.m. hour is about when I realized people are taking kids to school right now, and I don't want to offend anybody as they're trying to get there.
Let's just say that I think there's a lot of organizations out there that have become detached from not only reality in general, but the reality of their audiences they serve. And I'll leave it at that.
There you go.
My only,
nobody wants to.
You said you was going to leave it at that. Stop right there. Just put a period and put a button on it, bow it up. Let's move on.
Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna hold my tongue here.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness gracious.
Let's ask you something we didn't mention in the first hour. Yeah, let's just move on from that. I told you. I said, what do you want to? What do you want to?
I can't believe you brought that up, Bill.
Jen is actually the one who.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, that's part of
That's what we do.
I did. I just, because I guess if nothing else, I just was seeing. I want to understand, is she into sports? That was my whole thing. Is if you find somebody of that age group, okay, that's great, whatever. But what is her connection to Sports Illustrated?
Yeah,
is she
makes a hell of a casserole, I think.
There you go. Is she out?
No, that's Paula Dean.
Oh, see,
which would have been equally bad.
All right, let's. Yeah, you're right.
Actually, I would rather see Paula Dean in the swimsuit.
All right, let's just
than Martha Stewart.
So
realignment.
Well, I'm having to look very quickly to see. Okay, last night. I was making sure it was not tonight. It was last night. Last night. There's a football player that I grew up really admiring, and I'm not sure he gets the credit he deserves because he followed in the steps of Sterling Sharp. But when I say the name Robert Brooks, incredible wide receiver for South Carolina, but because he followed in the steps of Sterling Sharp, do we not give Robert Brooks enough credit? Last night he was honored he was inducted into the South Carolina Athletic Hall of Fame. Should have mentioned that yesterday. A lot of great players yesterday inducted in, but JC, you're like me, lifelong Gamecock, and Robert Brooks in the late 80s, right after Sterling Sharp, was incredible.
Oh, absolutely. We had him on Inside the Gamecocks, the show last week. Talked to him for about 30 minutes as part of, we're calling it the Born to Crow series. And, it was about him getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. And yeah, if you think back to 1987, South Carolina, while the Gator Bowl was a disappointment, tell me where you've heard that before. South Carolina was one of the better teams in the country that year, even though they finished 8-4. They had a really tough schedule. Almost knocked off Miami in the Orange Bowl. They played that game after Clemson. They beat Clemson that year. Lost a couple to Georgia and Nebraska back-to-back on the road at the beginning of the season, and then lost to LSU in the Gator Bowl, finished 8-4. But that team had a ton of talent. You're talking, Todd Ellis, Sterling Sharp, Ryan Bethea, Harold Green, Brad Edwards, Roy Hart, Norman Floyd, Danny Smith. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Well, that next year, Sterling was gone. And I think Ryan Bethea either had an injury or was ineligible or something like that. So he was gone. So, they're kind of wondering who's going to play receiver. And Robert Brooks was a running back in high school at Greenwood. And they moved him over. I guess his legend sort of started. They played Georgia at home. I remember that game being on TBS, station the Braves used to be on. He made his one-handed catch in the end zone. I think it put Carolina up 17-3. They won 23-10 that day, beat the Bulldogs. That was the first of 2 straight wins that Todd sort of engineered against the Dogs, because they beat him in '89 down there too. People don't remember that one that well, but they did. And I think Brooks had some catches in that one. I think why he gets overlooked, Bill, is so the '88 team was ranked, I think, 6th in the country, and the bottom fell out. They lost to Georgia Tech. They won a game at NC State that was pretty good, and they got slaughtered by Dion and the Knowles, and then Clemson beat them pretty good, and then Indiana and the Liberty Bowl beat them pretty good. Shortly after that, Joe Morrison tragically dies. Sparky Woods comes in. Those 2 teams got really, for lack of a better term, screwed by the administration because they turned down a bowl game. That set the program back a ways, by the way. And so he left after 91, which is a losing season. And so I think, because Sterling played on some very exciting Gamecock teams, and then Brooks, 88 was good until it wasn't. And then, those teams he was on sort of struggled a little bit. Maybe he gets overlooked. Now, he goes to Green Bay, and yet again has to follow Sterling Sharp. And he ends up creating the Lambeau Leap and trademarking it. And had arguably because Sterling's career unfortunately got cut short, arguably had a better career in Green Bay than Sterling Sharp did, one of Brett Favre's favorite targets. So, I was thinking the same thing. Robert Brooks does get kind of overlooked in the grand scheme of things, but he and Sterling Sharp sort of got things started. Maybe going back to Ira Hillary with a string of excellent wide receivers to play at South Carolina.
Preston, where do you stand on football player numbers? Because the other thing about Robert Brooks, number 49, is terrible. A pretty unassuming wide receiver number there, 49. And I think they sold the 49 jersey. Like, that's clear NIL copyright infringement. Like, selling a 1 makes sense. A 2, I think I had the Sterling Sharp. 49, you know who you're representing.
If I hear a wide receiver wore number 49, he definitely got in a 3-point stance. Right? He was definitely like a flanker. He didn't play wide receiver. He played flanker, and he got in a 3-point stance. He had to. 49? Oof. That's a tough sell. That's a tough sell.
Are you on board these days with defensive linemen and the single digits?
Bill, we don't have enough time for this. This is a summer show. I have plenty of thoughts. Let's just say most of them do not deserve to be wearing a single-digit number.
Oh, is it so? Single digits are allowed only for the elite of the elite, or big defensive linemen should only be in the 60s to 90s? Is that
Bill?
Most of them are in the 90s.
They should be. They should be in the 90s. If you're in the 60s, we're gonna have to question how good you are. There's a certain cadre of numbers.
Wait a minute. So does that mean the 50s? Any in the 50s? Is it just the 60s that don't work, or the 50s? Because I believe.
Well, Bill, I'm gonna be a pro right now. You ready for me to be a pro?
Oh, good.
I believe South Carolina just signed an edge rusher by the name of, what was his in the transfer portal? I don't want to mispronounce the name. Jatiah?
Jacius Gear.
Jacius Gear.
We haven't been close on him then.
Jacius Gear, shout out to you, sir. I hope you come in and you play well. But I had reservations solely based on the fact that you wore number 54 and you were playing B. I said, oh, this can't be good. And then I had to go back and read. I had to do some more research. I said, oh, maybe he is a player. But I saw that commitment, welcome home 54, and I just wrote him off. I thought, he must be a walk-on. There's no way this guy's any good.
Was 55.
He was an outside linebacker.
Yeah, that's true.
And 55 is better than 54. There's a lot of ways that this 54? Can go. There's a lot of ways that this can go.
Who was 54 this year? Jovan Gwynn was 54?
He was offensive lineman.
There you go.
Well, it wasn't there a good buddy of yours who was 57?
Yeah, and he would argue that was a terrible number.
Langston Moore. What were you?
94.
94. That's right. Yeah, easy to. A long history of very good 94s to come through this university. 57s, not so much. We'll continue down this path, get into a little bit of recruiting as well with JC as camp season just around the corner. I'll ask Preston too. I want to know, were you a circuit guy? Did you get out on the camp circuit, the Charleston Southern, the South Carolina, the Clemson? We'll find out what your camp memories are like. We'll get JC's as well. It's Tuesday morning here, May the 16th, 7:12. You're listening to the early game, 107.5 The Game.
Gotta take.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
This is Preston here with Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. Cracked windshields, no problem. They come out to your location and they replace it for you, usually for free. And they work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. So if you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows or mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of all of that for you. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. As you hear me say it on the radio all the time, if you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
This is Boomer Esiason with CBS Sports Minute. Time to load the boom on Rodney Velarde. For 13 years, he was the baseball coach at Atlantic Cape Community College in Mays Landing, New Jersey. He was recently asked to resign after his players were caught using illegal electronic communication devices in their helmets against Rowan College. Didn't Velarde ever hear about the Astro situation? I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called Testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text STAY to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text STAY to 42424. That's STAY to 42424. Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Sponsored by Take 5 Oil Change. At Take 5, they're faster than you think. That means they'll change your oil and get you back on the road in less time than it takes to get over from the express lane to the exit ramp. Just sit back and relax while their fast, friendly team does all the work. Take 5, the stay in your car 10-minute oil change.
Trucks, we want trucks.
New Silverados are on the ground now, and more are on the way to Herndon Chevrolet. We're taking up to $15,000 off to get you in your new truck. Stop by your hometown Chevy dealer and shop all your favorite models at prices you'll love. Find new roads at Herndon Chevrolet or visit us online at HerndonChevy.com today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
You can pick out every detail of your remodel.
That one. Or that one?
That one. No, wait, that one. But you never really know what it will look like until...
Well...
not what I imagined. CHW Cabinetry understands not being able to visualize what your new space will look like can be stressful, but our photorealistic renderings leave nothing to the imagination, and our job site book makes sure everyone's on the same page. Literally, learn more at chwcabinetry.com. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Millions of small business owners like Leanna Lynn choose Spectrum Business.
Spectrum Business services are essential to our business.
Call 855-282-FAST to choose Spectrum Business for your business. Get fast, reliable internet starting at $49.99 per month and the Spectrum Business Connect phone system with video conferencing for just $19.99 per month to get a free mobile line for 1 year.
I could not live without it.
Call 855-282-FAST to choose Spectrum Business today. Restrictions apply. Services not available in all areas.
Palmetto Cards is paying cash for your cards. Palmetto Cards, West Main Street in Lexington, open Monday through Saturday. Have cards you need to sell? Palmetto Cards is hosting a buying day on Saturday, May 20th. No collection is too large. Palmetto Cards always has the latest releases from Topps, Bowman, Panini, Prism, Pokemon, and more. Plus, their Palmetto packs and mystery boxes are loaded with tons of value. Need cards graded? They make the grading process easy. Palmetto Cards is hosting a buying day on Saturday, May 20th, 404 West Main Street in Lexington. PalmettoCards.com.
Mix a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews, and you've got the Rich Eisen Show podcast.
And we say hello to the new number 8 of the New York Jets, because Aaron Rodgers is going back to school. A little triple Lindy wearing his old Cal number, diving into the New York Jets pool, which, as we all know, is filled with riptides everywhere. You have no idea. And it's normally for the ocean, but nothing ever makes sense for the Jets, ever.
The Rich Eisen Show podcast, wherever you listen.
1075 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
And we do have a big slowdown there. I-26 eastbound around exit 111. So basically Augusta Highway. The 2 left lanes are currently blocked. There was a vehicle fire there. So again, 2 left lanes are blocked. I-26 eastbound there at exit 111. Going to be a pretty decent day. Maybe a couple storms later. 87 for our high today. Some isolated storms tomorrow and 85. Then we get down to 73 with some showers on Thursday. It's a little bit overcast right now, though, and 63 at 107.5 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Shen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
$7:19 on a Tuesday morning, and oh boy, off air did we just go down a path. JC, I was telling Preston last night, not a whole lot of sports on last night, not stuff to really like sink my teeth into. So I ended up Lauren and I ended up about 7:00. We locked in with Jason Statham and the Meg. You've seen the Meg, right?
No.
It's a shark, man. It's a megalodon, and they got us. And so I knew this. I knew that I'd seen it before. I'd already seen it. Again, it's kind of a
you watched the Meg again?
Yeah, it's kind of a mindless movie. I can get in on like Sharknado. I was out on, but Jaws I was in on. The Meg was okay.
See, my daughter is a huge Shark Week person. So literally for probably the first 45 minutes of being in her place on Sunday for Mother's Day, my day. We were watching all kinds of, Nat Geo, Shark, this and that. And it's fascinating and watching, all kinds of stuff getting ripped up in the.
So I got in. Yeah. Now I'd seen it enough to where when we got to the I wanted to get to bed relatively early. So I did kind of like the shark is going into the little bay where all the people, and it's going to have a nice little buffet of actors or whatever. And I was like, I already know what happens. Jason Statham always wins. Jason Statham never loses. I'm going to bed. But in the break, if you haven't seen it, JC, of course you don't need much background on what it is. Look up the Meg 2. Look up the trailer for the Meg 2 because I feel like we're heading down another.
Is there a second one? They made two. Well, Hollywood's really gone off the rails.
I mean, kind of don't we know kind of the plot on this? Like, there's not a lot of variations, I wouldn't think.
There's a bigger Meg out there.
So
They're
it's
also
just
just from what I can tell from the trailer that we watched in the break, from what I can tell, there appears to be some dinosaurs now involved in this.
Yeah, okay.
It's coming in. I believe I saw
Go get a root
August.
canal.
Yeah, coming in August. JC,
I am now dumber.
JC, one thing you posted on the BigSpur.com this morning, I kind of jumped in with you, and I mentioned this. Colorado TCU is now set for the noon game on Fox. And one thing that I've kind of been suggesting and talking about is South Carolina having a chance early on to make a big statement. And if we get into that North Carolina game a little bit, Spencer Rattler and Drake May, also, you just talk about recruiting and maybe building your program a little bit. There's a good chance this game is going to end up being a primetime game. And as I pointed out, I think there's a good chance maybe game day ends up there in Charlotte. What do you look at when you actually look at this game?
Well, I mean, look, a lot of your way too early draft boards have Drake May going number 1 overall. So obviously the hype train on him is pretty real. And look, Mike Morgan, I do the JC and Morgan podcast with him. He went and covered the UNC spring game and said, the hype is real with Drake. They've got a good transfer wide receiver in Trez Walker from Kent State that I think is going to make an impact. 2 good young running backs. They've got, a roster that in theory, they should be better than they are. And return a lot of people. And then South Carolina with Spencer Rattler. I mean, they were kind of the story of college football last year after beating Tennessee and Clemson like they did. There's not a lot of great games. I mean, you're talking about the Labor Day night game is Clemson at Duke at Wallace Wade. Ooh.
Yeah.
I think the game in Atlanta is Georgia Tech and Louisville. That's on a Friday. Orlando, the Florida State LSU game's on Sunday that weekend. So you look at that Saturday schedule, and then Penn State, West Virginia certainly is an intriguing football game, but it's on NBC at 7:30. So, I mean, the pickings are slim. Florida Utah is a game that I would think would draw some attention, but it's on Thursday night out in Salt Lake City. So, you kind of by the process of elimination, and you look at the 2 quarterbacks, and a good setting in Charlotte. The stars may align for the Gamecocks to get the elusive evening kickoff on a Saturday up there. I think everybody would be happy about that. I think one of the big problems with the Charlotte game has been the kickoff time, 2-3:30s, and then the year they played North Carolina on a Thursday night. I mean, 5:30 p.m. on a Thursday in Charlotte's brutal. I mean, it's just traffic and getting there and all that. And I think the East Carolina game when they played them in Charlotte was a night kickoff, but that was way back in about 12 years ago. So a night kickoff for that one would be good. I think it would, there'd probably be a bigger crowd there from both schools. Give you a chance to go and enjoy Charlotte for the day, watch some football, maybe go to a tailgate and all that. And then, with game day comes and it's Kirk and Chris Fowler on the call. I mean, that's even better. That's those times when that happens are good for, you mentioned recruiting and all that, just the exposure of your program when you get the number 1 spot. So I definitely think it's a possibility, when you kind of look at what else the offerings are that weekend.
Yeah. Preston, obviously there was a difference for y'all getting fired up for a big game to start the season versus what is it? We always hear that. Like, it put us in a player's perspective. Like, if you have a North Carolina to open the season, and let's say we should find out maybe in the next 3 weeks what time the game is, what channel it'll be on, if it's a primetime game, versus say opening I know New Mexico State was a little bit different because of the losing streak. I'm trying to think of who else you might have opened with over the years there with Holtz, but does it create a little more excitement in summer workouts, or summer workouts getting up at 6 a.m. and running in Columbia heat? It doesn't matter who you're playing. It is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if excitement is the word, but definitely urgency, because there is a feeling when you're playing Georgia State, no disrespect, New Mexico State or
Eastern Illinois,
or something like that. There is a feeling like we have at least another week to work on this stuff. So we're kind of treating those games, not to be disrespectful and say a scrimmage, but we know that if we're not executing as well as we can still win this game. At North Carolina, there will be a sense of urgency in camp because the season starts day one, snap one, kickoff, and they're going to have to be ready to go. So, yeah, there is definitely a coaches will say, oh, we treat every game the same, and blah, blah, but that's not true. There's going to be a higher level of urgency.
JC, it seems like when North Carolina beat Will Muschamp in South Carolina in Charlotte, things changed for the better at North Carolina. All of a sudden, they went up, South Carolina went down. It feels like that completely reversed course at the Duke's Mayo Bowl. North Carolina had actually been a disappointment that season with Sam Howell compared to what they were supposed to be. South Carolina had gotten into the bowl game there. They win the game. It feels like that's when things really started to take off for Shane Beamer. Do you put as much emphasis on this game again, kind of sending each other's program in different trajectories?
I mean, I don't know. I think it's a game South Carolina needs to win, but there are games on the schedule every year that South Carolina wants to win, needs to win, etc. One of the things Shane Beamer's done is during the latter part of the Muschamp era, and look, these accomplishments are very modest, but when in your program, you want to keep what you've got, right? You always want to keep your streaks intact. Well, Muschamp had a 2-game losing streak in openers. Spurrier, I think, lost one opener his entire career, and I don't think Holtz did at all, except for 99. So Gamecock fans aren't used to losing the opener. Well, that happened. Gamecocks had not lost to a team from North Carolina since 1999. And in 2019, they lost 2 to North Carolina and App State. Well, Beamer's beaten East Carolina and UNC, so that streak's back at 2. In Charlotte, the Gamecocks had a nice little run going. They beat East Carolina, they beat North Carolina, they beat NC State. Well, then Virginia and that other North Carolina game happened. So all of a sudden, you got a 2-game losing streak at Bank of America. Well, Beamer's reversed that. So, South Carolina is 7-2 against the Tar Heels since 1988, which was Mac Brown's first year at North Carolina, the first time. Ironically, he opened with South Carolina again the second time. He was at North Carolina and won. They're 3-1 all time against Mac, or 4-2 all time against Mac Brown. It's been a series that South Carolina's really gotten the best of their northern neighbors most of the time, including that bowl game, which they were 12.5-point underdog in. They're North Carolina. You want to recruit in North Carolina. You don't want them recruiting in South Carolina. Is it as good for you when they're kind of down as some of the teams in the East or some of the teams in the SEC? No, because they've been down a lot, and it's not always super helpful. But I think you always want to beat your neighbor, and you always want to make sure that you keep streaks going and and all that good stuff. And so, it's a very important game, I think. And Bill, when you look at the September schedule, I mean, my goodness, you got North Carolina, well, then you got Furman, and then Mississippi State comes to town, and who knows? Their quarterback's a veteran, obviously, but who knows what exactly they'll be this coming year. It's still an SEC game, and you go to Georgia before Mississippi State, and then you go to Tennessee at the end of the month. So, those 3 games away from Williams-Brice, the Gamecocks are playing, what could be a Heisman contender, a number 1 pick at quarterback in May with North Carolina. They're playing the defending national champions in Athens in Georgia. And then they're going to Knoxville, which has been a house of horrors, and just about everybody's going to probably pick Tennessee second in the division to start out with. So the season can really be awesome by the end of September, or you could be sitting there at 2-3 if you don't win that North Carolina game. So that wouldn't, that would be disappointing for everybody. So I think it's a critical football game. I think from what I've read, the fan base is sort of, because tickets for this thing are, honest to God, they're too high. I mean, and some fans are Charlotte adverse. They don't want to go up there for the game. They don't like Charlotte or whatever. I think Carolina fans, though, South Carolina, I think they're ready to embrace it this go around because of the excitement around the program. From what I've read, North Carolina hadn't been selling all that many tickets, but if you could have a big Gamecock crowd up there in Charlotte, get off to a good start, that certainly would be helpful for the rest of what should be a pretty challenging opening month of the season.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. You're listening to J.C. Sherbert. He's Preston Thorne. I'm Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
We appreciate you listening to 107.5 The Game. And because you are a loyal listener, you might have noticed the last few weeks that the game hasn't sounded as strong coming through your speakers. Or you all of a sudden can't pick up the station in certain places around the Midlands. Well, a few weeks ago, our main transmitter was damaged during a storm. It'll still be a few more weeks until we get the parts to have it fixed. So if you're having issues listening to 107.5 The Game, we encourage you to go to iTunes or the Google Play Store and download our app. In a couple of clicks, you'll be hearing the game loud and clear. Thanks again for your patience and for listening to 107.5 The Game.
Fresh off Mother's Day weekend, you're probably ready to get the summer going. Memorial Day weekend, just a week and a half away, a little over a week and a half away. That'll be the official start to the summer. So is your pool ready to be used? Are you ready to go home after a long day at work and just lounge around, float around the pool and enjoy the evening? Well, you probably are. The problem is if your pool's still dirty from the spring, if it still has pollen in it, leaves, you don't want to spend your time after a long day having to clean your pool. You need to use the experts at Corley Pool Solutions. 803-445-8109. Corley Pool Solutions will come to your house weekly. They'll inspect, maintain, and make sure it's operating properly. They'll test, treat, and do everything they need to do at a flat rate cost, including all of the chemicals. That's right. You're saving money right there. You're saving time. You're saving money with the experts. Corley Pool Solutions. Over 20 years of experience helping maintain people's pools so they can make sure when you come home after a long day of work, you're ready to relax in that pool in your own backyard. Give them a phone call today. 803-445-8109. Again, that's 803-445-8109. One of the unspoken things about Corley Pool Solutions and having them help maintain your pool is they can prevent expensive damage to your pool equipment. Most people don't think about that. They just think about the fact that, hey, the pool is clean. We can jump in it. Don't have any leaves. Don't have any debris. Well, you also want to make sure that you don't have any damage to your pool equipment. That can be pretty costly, and Corley Pool Solutions helps you with that as well. Line them up today. 803-445-8109. That's Corley Pool Solutions.
Are unauthorized parked cars taking up valuable spots in your lot? Schroeder's Towing has the solution. With 21 trucks in our fleet, we'll quickly remove any unauthorized vehicles from your property. Plus, we offer free signage to let everyone know that your lot is for customers only. At Schroeder's Towing, we take pride in providing reliable and professional towing services. Our team is available 24/7 to assist you with all of your towing needs. Don't let parking problems hurt your business. Call us today at 343-8519 and let us handle the rest.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and we ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had and needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Ecton and his law firm ended up getting us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Ecton law firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, they're definitely the people you should call.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Did you hear? South Carolina Department of Corrections has huge pay raises for officers. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years old and have a high school diploma or GED. Visit joinscdc.com to apply. Sponsored by South Carolina Department of Corrections, SCBA, and this station.
Hey, y'all. Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet, quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon. Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City, 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we know how serious injuries change people's lives. I'm Jason Reynolds. When you're involved in a major car or truck accident, my team is on your side. You don't have to be alone. Let's do this together.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, my team is with you from start to finish. We're people with a passion for helping injured workers. Bring your case to us and stop the worrying. We've got this.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Interest rates are going up all over town, but Galliana Kia has rates going down, down, down. Now you can finance a new Kia at 0% APR at Galliana Kia on Greystone. Or you can buy now and pay later with no payments all summer long. 2023 Kia Rio LX, just $16,990. And any trade goes. We'll get you out of your current loan or lease, even if you're over mileage, have months left, or still owe thousands. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. If you've got a job and you make at least $2,000 per month, our lenders can get you approved for a new Kia with 0% APR financing. Gotta go to Galliana. Galliana Kia on Greystone. I-126 Zoo exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or KiaColumbia.com. Rio stock number 3K1127. Plus tax and tag. Includes $225 closing fee to qualified buyers. $41.66 per month per $1,000 borrowed for 24 months at 0 APR with 0 down. Dealer rebates up to $400 per month till September. Negative trade equity financed in new loans subject to lender approval. Offers don't combine. Expires month end.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
And take a look at your traffic conditions out there this morning. We do have a report of a tie-up I-20 eastbound there at exit 44 coming this direction from Augusta. Also, Spears Creek Church Road at Wood Creek Farms Road. And the left lane is blocked due to an earlier vehicle fire, I-26 eastbound there at exit 111, otherwise known as Highway 1. Your forecast, we're looking pretty decent for the day. Might see some showers or storms rolling in later tonight. 88 for the high. Some isolated storms tomorrow. 85 for the high. Dropping to 73 with some rain on Thursday. Right now, 63 at 107.5 The Game.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Eight 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in if you want to join us. JC Sherbert joining us from thebigspur.com as he does each and every Tuesday. And let's get into a little recruiting here. Let's start with some serious recruiting discussion. First off, Logan Diggs. We were talking about that game in North Carolina, JC, and you know the big question: are we all in agreement? JC, probably Preston, I think. Are we all in agreement that running back at this point, as we sit here on May 16th, is the biggest question mark for South Carolina going into the summer, going into fall camp, going into that first game? Are we, Preston? Are you there? Do you look at another position, offensive line, edge rushers?
I think they might have answered some of the edge questions with the recent transfer. So yeah, to me, running back is probably something that we still need to get tightened up.
JC?
I think they need depth at running back. Obviously, as I continue to think about it, talk to people inside the program, though, I think offensive line would be what I would circle right now because, I mean, if you don't have blocking, I don't really care who you have back there. You're not going to get very far. You're talking about Logan Diggs specifically. Notre Dame had one of the best offensive lines in the country last season. It's just difficult when you don't have the ability to really move the people in front of you. Now, I thought South Carolina's offensive line got better as the season went on. Obviously Marshawn Lloyd had some great rushing games toward the middle of the year. I think they figured some things out. But you sort of look at it being down Jalen Nichols, that kind of throws some things off. And then Casey Henry, who's a young player who I think could have seen some playing time this year. He was hurt during the spring, so you're going to get him back. The really good offensive linemen, that are coming in. Marquis Anderson's probably going to have to play. And then, really 2023, 2024 are where the recruiting's ticked up. Now, the good news is Carolina's got a lot of older players up there. The guys that are going to have to do the playing are, the Tyshawn Wanamakers, Ja'Kai Moore, Rashawn Lee, Nick Gargiulo, Trey Jones. I mean, those are who they're going to have to count on this year while they sort of bridge it to where, the great recruiting that Lonnie Teasley and Greg Atkins and those guys have done up front, because as we know, offensive line is developmental. You rarely see a guy that's going to come in ready to start on the O-line. So that would be for me. And, maybe I just have a little bit more faith in DeCarron Joyner and Mario Anderson Jr., and Juju McDowell, then maybe some people saw in the spring game. I think DeCarron could be really good at running back. There's just a few things he needs to kind of clean up. Juju's productive if you use him in a certain way. And then I think Mario, as he continues to progress and adjust to the speed at this level, and you saw signs of that in the spring game, he's going to be just fine. I mean, he averaged 7.4 yards a carry at Newberry. He hadn't forgotten how to run the ball. So, would Diggs be great? Yes, I think that would because that's like a solid answer. The other guys are question marks, so solid answer. But for Carolina to have the run game they need to have this year, they're going to have to be able to block. And I think with the injuries up there and just the fact there's sort of a gap there between the much older guys, many of whom were left over from the Muschamp era that have been here a while, and then your talented younger guys, which are probably 2 or 3 years away.
So to go back to that, when you say offensive line, you're not as concerned though about depth, because even though Marquis Anderson was on campus back in the spring, you're including Trevon Ball. You've got obviously Big Tree Babalade coming in as well, and Jatavius Shivers coming in. So that's 3 more. Depth isn't your concern. It's more experience or is it talent?
Well, you don't want to rely on freshmen either. I mean,
right.
Babalade and Shivers, I think, will probably be red shirts. I think Ball could get in there and compete, as will Anderson. And then you have Brubaker and Grayson Maines, who are second-year players on the inside. The kid from Charlotte that they got out of the portal the other day, Jackson Appel. His name's Jackson, Jax. He started how many games at left tackle for Charlotte last year? I don't care what level you're at. If you start at left tackle for an FBS program for a while, I mean, I think you can play some. I mean, Sidney Fugar probably needs to have a really big summer. And people are going to be like, well, he came from the portal. Why did they take him? Well, Sidney's got 3 years left. So he's a guy that, you could take a flyer on and develop. He's a massive human being, but, you gotta, he's got to get there. It'd be helpful to get Henry back, I think, too, but I just think that's up in the air. So, and it's more at tackle, Bill, than on the inside. I think, they were really counting on Jalen Nichols to be that left tackle this year because he played so well down the stretch and really had a chance to play his way into getting drafted before the unfortunate injury in the spring game. So that's kind of thrown that position overall, I don't want to say into chaos, but there's a lot of questions up there right now. And I think the answer is simply that, these guys that have been here for a while, they all need to have their best seasons as Gamecocks. And, we're going on 5 or 6 years with some of these dudes, and they've all played well at times. And so there's no reason why they can't gel, but gelling is easier said than done sometimes when you're talking about that position. I do know this. I think there'll be less confusion up front this year with Dowell Loggins coordinating the offense than last year.
Jackson Hughes, the offensive lineman you're talking about from Charlotte, 6'6", 295 pounds, appears to be a redshirt senior there, originally from Greensboro, North Carolina. We'll come back. I want to ask you two something, and Preston will probably carry this over into the next hour as well, about junior college players, because there was a point that JC just made about Sidney Fugar and his now being on the team with eligibility. So I'll ask both of you that when we come back. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
Have you missed any of the early game?
You can catch up by going to the Early Game on demand page at 1075thegame.com.
Or by downloading our 107.5 The Game app on iTunes or Google Play.
Sponsored by Summit Racing. Summit Racing has the parts and accessories to get your ride summer road trip ready. With millions of parts from the best brands in stock, you'll find exactly what you need to hit the highway or take the road less traveled. SummitRacing.com. Everything you need for anything you drive.
Life matters. Hollywood studio chief Jack Warner thought he was a good judge of acting talent. He passed on Clark, though, and decided the man would never survive the demands America's motion picture industry put on its leading men. After all, Warner said, what can you do with a guy who has huge ears like that? The guy with big ears was Clark Gable, and the rest is history. The Bible says that man looks on the outward appearance, but God looks on the heart. He sees the real us and values you beyond your wildest imagination. You may not have been voted most popular or most likely to succeed, but God says in Scripture, I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to bless you and prosper you and not to harm you. I've said it before and I'll say it again. God is really crazy about you. To learn more about the incredible love of God, visit us at ChristianLifeColumbia.com. And remember, life matters, and so do you.
Go to CLColumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service times.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's a $7,500 sign-on bonus and increased pay for most security positions. Start a rewarding new career with great benefits today. Visit joinscdc.com to apply now or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
Can you imagine a magical world
filled with elves and fairies
and pixies and sprites
whose only job is to make people happy?
They want to see you smile
and laugh
and sing
and dance a little.
These magical beings will suddenly appear
when you call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
And then you'll look at babies and smile.
And tell delivery people to have a wonderful day.
And wave at your neighbors whenever you see them.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Here's Bill McDaniel of McDaniel's Auto Group for the Hood Team.
Danny and I had a sale earlier this year, and I don't care when I called him, night, morning, evening, Danny is always there. Then when you put together the kind of people that Danny Hood is and Karen and William, you've got an awesome real estate team.
I'm Danny Hood.
And I'm Karen Hood.
And I'm William DiMaggio.
We're the Hood team
at Coldwell Banker Realty. Give us a call.
At 803-730-2512.
Or online at thehoodteam.com.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead.
With free battery testing and charging, AutoZone is here to help.
Get in zone, AutoZone. What if I need a new one?
We have the right batteries right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone. And what if I don't know how to connect it?
No problem. We have a how-to for you at AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
107.5 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's time for a First Alert traffic update. As we've seen around the region early this morning, it has been a calmer Tuesday. Now, of course, as we make that push later on, make sure you are staying tuned for anything pertinent to your travels. Also, just a quick reminder, it is going to be hotter today. Always got to keep up that car heat safety as we see temperatures rise. This has been a WIS First Alert traffic update. I am meteorologist Tony Chivaroli.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
All right, we don't have much time on this, but Preston and I are here laughing because I heard you say something, JC, that kind of made me think about Sidney Fugar. Typically, as a transfer, I think most times we think now with the grad transfers, these are kind of one-year assassins, so to speak. They come in, they make an impact. The transfer portal has changed in the last 20 years how junior college football is recruited, isn't it? You look at it, Preston, how many names do we have right now from your time?
12, 14, 16, going about upwards of 17 to 18.
We're 17. We're trying to remember a few more that was there. JC, I'm not saying you don't pick and choose your junior college players. Obviously, Elijah Davis is one. Bam Martin Scott is another. I might be missing one or two more here in the last few. But across the board, people don't go, coaches aren't going the junior college route to recruit now. I'm going to go find somebody, even if it's, say, from a Western Illinois, a Sidney Fugar, Jackson Hughes, the offensive lineman I just mentioned, who's going to be a preferred walk-on. But the transfer portal's changed how junior college recruiting happens, hasn't it?
Well, that and COVID, because during COVID, man, all of them canceled their seasons. They Marcellus Dial came from junior college, and he only played like 1 year, and then got his season canceled, and then that put them behind. I do still think, there are junior college players that get recruited. Now, what you don't have anymore, Bill, is like the Kansas State philosophy under Bill Snyder. Or you can go back to Mississippi State under Jackie Sherrill. Charlie Weiss, it didn't work out, but he tried it at Kansas, where, you got 70% of a class from junior colleges. It's just, the coaching and the player development and the resources that the player has access to at a group of five or another Power Five or an FCS even, I think just prepares them a little bit better. You get less of a raw player now. Look, Elijah Davis looked pretty good in the spring game, right? So, but those guys are kind of few and far between. So, I agree with you to a certain extent, but then at the same time, they're the Gamecocks especially are still recruiting junior college guys. One thing that gets lost too when we're talking about offensive line, like we were earlier, Bill, Isaiah Jada was committed to the Gamecocks, if you remember correctly, from Snow Junior College in Utah, and they felt like he would come in and make an impact. And he's from San Diego and looked like he was going to flip to Auburn, but ended up joining the primetime train out at Colorado. I think he'll probably start for them this year. He's a really good player. So, there's another person that was supposed to be there that isn't on that O-line. But I think it's going to be interesting in about 4 or 5 years to go back and look at, is the portal truly damaging junior college recruiting? And it may be the case, but it may not be. So I think it's one of those things we have to wait and see. And that's simply because of the pandemic having an adverse impact on junior colleges and the resources and all that. So we'll see what happens. But it's still out there. It's just not as prevalent as maybe it once was, and there's certainly more to know on the transfer portal.
That's kind of the Sidney Fugar thing, because he's big boy. He is a big boy. I saw him at the Carolina Rise event down at Home Team Barbecue here a few weeks ago. And what you just said, because I think you typically think, oh, he's here as a one-year guy. He's got developmental time. Like, he's now part of this rotation. When you talk about a Brew Baker, when you talk about a Kason Henry, you throw a Grayson Mange, you look behind them now with Babalade and Marquis Anderson. And so it's going to be interesting to see that offensive line as we continue to go through the next several years with Lonnie Teasley. So we will.
Yeah, and in 2024, they're going to have to count on a lot of young offensive linemen because, like these guys that are still here, they're getting older. So, and so that's going to be your Babalades of the world. They don't play this year. They probably need to get ready for 2024.
Man, we always appreciate it. Look forward to catching up with you next Tuesday. Hope you have a great rest of the week. We'll talk a little baseball with you next week. And I got a legitimate not a legitimate question, but save it for, we're going to discuss a little bit, but we'll get your take next week. When did defensive ends just become flat out edges? There's no such thing as defensive ends anymore. So we'll get to that next week.
All right, fellas. Enjoyed it as always. Take care.
All right, my man.
Yeah. I'm going through we were doing the junior college thing. I'm going through the roster from 2003. I'm going to throw some names at you when we come back.
Oh, one of my favorite games.
Hour 3 on the way.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
What's up, y'all? This Gamecocks wide receiver Juice Wells. You're listening to 107.5 The Game, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station.
I'm proud to work for Volvo Cars because we're helping build a safer, more sustainable future for everyone. My name is Tamara Thompson. I'm from South Carolina, born and raised in Sumter. I'm a quality launch supervisor at the Volvo Cars plant in Ridgeville. I'm helping build the new Volvo EX90 here. At Volvo Cars, people are at the center. We feel supported, recognized, and feel like we can grow our careers. And we're hiring. Apply now at readysc.org/Volvo.
No manufacturing experience required. Must be 18 years or older with a high school diploma or GED.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, part of our tractor lineup rated #1 in durability and owner experience, Z Series mowers, and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Bring home select BX Series equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 72 months, plus save up to $800 now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Stop by Pioneer Farm Equipment in Orangeburg, 1 mile off of I-26 exit 154B, or at PioneerFarmSC.com.
Breathe easier in your home with Zerorez Air Duct Cleaning. It's the only company I trust to get my home insanely clean. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get $30 off your next air duct cleaning. Use promo code AIR30 when scheduling online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
This is Trooper Tony Candidate with South Carolina Highway Patrol, and I've got a question for drivers. Do you look for motorcycles when you're behind the wheel? And here's another question. Could you imagine what it's like to be on a motorcycle that is hit by a car or truck? Many motorcyclist injuries and fatalities can be prevented if drivers can do that one simple thing. Just look. Share the road, save a life. A Target Zero message from the South Carolina Department of Public Safety.
Have you been debating if you should replace your old HVAC unit? What if you could get up to $5,300 off the cost of a new unit today? Call AAA Heating and Air, 803-677-1500 for a free estimate to see what AAA Heating and Air can do for you. Let their comfort advisors inform you of the current Inflation Reduction Act, which can offer a huge tax credit. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
AAA Air, when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe, fixing seats so every fan can enjoy every game. And Allie, who keeps her stadium running smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last play of the season. At Grainger, you're our MVPs, and we're always here for you, with supplies and solutions for every industry and 24/7 customer support. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Summer's heating things up, outside and on the grill. Whether you're smoking a brisket or grilling up veggies, Kingsford Original Charcoal delivers the consistent performance and smoky wood-fired flavor barbecuers crave. Kingsford Original lights faster and has a long burn time, giving you the ultimate grilling experience. So grab a bag of Kingsford Original Charcoal. Kingsford.com. Kingsford Original Charcoal lights faster and delivers consistent performance compared to nationally available charcoal in the USA.
what we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, celebrating the incomparable Silverado. For the first time in history, the #1 selling retail full-size pickup in America. Find yours at South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. The early game
With Bill Gunter.
South Carolina will be getting ready. The baseball team will be getting ready for a series that weekend against what? Oh, no. The problem is I'm looking at April. That's why there's no March 20. That's why there's no March. That's why there's no Friday the 24th.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne and Jen Jensen.
That would explain exactly. I was like, what is wrong with this calendar? Like, why is there no? There was a Friday the 21st and a Friday the 28th, and I was like, this is not adding up at all.
on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
$8:01 on a Tuesday morning. Thank you to JC Sherbert for joining us as we get you up and get you out the door. Been discussing a little bit of the college football news from yesterday. ACC meetings getting underway for that conference as they try to, really the big thing for the ACC now is trying to navigate basically the financial gap. They're down at Amelia Island in Florida. Try to navigate the financial gap between their conference and the SEC and the Big Ten and what's coming. Personally, I don't know what other news we're going to get out of it, and I really don't expect a whole lot of answers as to what they plan to do, whether it's revenue distribution or I should say unequal revenue distribution, or whether they try to expand. Who knows what they're going to try and do, but they are trying to find ways to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. And I haven't asked you this, but your take on like a $30 million financial gap for schools like, say, Florida over Florida State, Georgia over Georgia Tech. I'm not sure Georgia Tech cares, but by the way, Georgia Tech not part of that Magnificent Seven. So apparently
like, we're the smartest of them.
Apparently, Virginia begs to differ.
Right.
And Duke.
Ooh,
And Duke. Yeah.
The real battle.
Yeah, that's where the group that's looking at Harvard and Yale as their next conference.
Have you heard of the Ivy Leagues?
But when being around it, seeing facilities going on recruiting trips, what is a player's perspective, or someone in yours? What is a $30 million a year? And that's kind of the number that's being thrown out there. What does that mean when we talk about a gap like that?
Again, these books and these numbers are so opaque, and so we who knows what $30 million means? Does that mean that we can't have a slide in our facility? Does that mean that all of a sudden the recording studio is not going to be working only on Tuesdays and Thursdays? I don't know what $30 million looks like every week or every year to these teams. I think if anybody traveled from place to place and compared facilities, the differences you would find would be very minuscule and not the thing that's going to make somebody make a decision, because this is how they sort of play this game. Everybody talks about, well, recruiting is about relationships, and it's about all the relationships that we build with our players. But then they say, oh, well, we need the facilities too. And then it's like, well, what is it? I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are not choosing where they're going to school based on how the weight room looks.
I mean, you can answer it better than a lot of us in terms of recruiting and what you saw or what you've seen. And even now, kind of just being in the high schools and being around players, what it is. Because I'll say this right now, as of now, it looks like the ACC will be able to distribute $40 million annually to 14 full members. So $40 million per day. The problem is the SEC and Big Ten are expected to be around $70 million. Well, $40 million, I'm still thinking you can build a pretty nice, like, what are you putting in a $70 million? I get it that at some point it starts to catch up. I've always said it won't be football. That where the SEC and the Big Ten will start to separate themselves is a sport like baseball, is a sport, say, like women's basketball, is a sport like that, for the majority of the SEC and the Big Ten and even the ACC, your dollars are going to be spent on your recruiting budgets for football, on your facilities for football, on stadium upgrades for football. It's going to football. Okay, what do we have left? All right, Bev Smith and softball. Sorry, we only have about $2 million left to enhance your locker room or put images on the walls or do something in the outfield that makes it look more attractive. Sorry, beach volleyball. We can't add new sand this year. You get the point. It's going to football, right? Like that's where it's going to start. If Clemson needs another indoor facility or whatever, Clemson's administration is going to look at that $40 million and go, that's where it's going. Sorry, Brad Brunell. Same uniforms as last year. You don't get to order new ones this year.
Yeah. And I have to just keep banging the drum because the point is it's going to football as an institution, but it is not going to football players.
Right.
And so they have this terrible problem of we have so much money, we don't know what to do with it. And so you get a lot of this foolishness, overspending into these facilities that it's not making very much of a difference.
Anonymous Extra Ways in. He's a good point. I'll let you answer this one. He says, I feel like having facilities does not get you recruits, but not having them can lose you recruits.
Maybe.
I mean, was there
there are no facilities in the SEC that are bad enough where somebody say, I'm not coming here.
Right.
That's not how it's going to work.
Everybody's already spending.
Everybody's fine.
Everybody's spending their money. 803-404-6100. So we got off topic. We've gotten off topic several times today off air, whether it was the Meg or in the one of the previous segments was junior college players. We were going through junior college players. I was trying to look some up. So I looked up the 2003 South Carolina football roster. That's prime Preston time.
Yeah, I will say the State of the Union was not great.
Prime Preston time. So I'm going to throw some names out. Let's hear memories and what. Let's start with a running back that I thought was going to be pretty good, and he came in. I believe this is the same class with Demetrius, and maybe a year behind Kenny Irons. Regis Edgerson from Ohio, maybe from Youngstown, Ohio ish.
Regis was cool, man. He didn't stay. I don't think he stayed. I know he transferred out, I believe. And he was a big brooding sort of running back.
220, yeah.
He was a big dude. Regis was cool, man. He wasn't as good as those other guys though.
Is that what it was? He just flat got beat out?
Mm-hmm.
Guy that actually did some things for South Carolina was a junior. I think came in close to you, Thez Robinson.
Whew. Thesmond was his actual name. And Thez had the best answering machine message.
Okay.
He would change it periodically, and he would be singing various songs. And that's about the best I could give you for Thesmond.
I'll give you one more here. Junior college player we brought up, Woody Telford. Because Woody was big. And Woody was also part of a interesting recruiting story, I believe, between South Carolina and Clemson, if I remember correctly. And Woody, 6'7", a solid 300.
Shout out to Big Wood. You know you're big when you're considered big amongst the football team. When the football team calls you Big Wood, you're big.
Okay.
Woody was huge. Mm-hmm. Shout out to my guy Woody Telford.
I feel like the 2003 team. I feel like 2002 was a transition year for y'all. It was an unfortunate year. It was 2003 that was a team full of personalities.
The wheels started getting pretty shaky, Bill. The wheels we were all in this van that was rolling down the hill, and the wheels were wobbly.
So year 3, and this is Shane Beamer's third year, and you look back, Steve Spurrier in his third year didn't go to a bowl game. Lou Holtz in his third year, again, the 2002 season, 2001 season. 2001 obviously was the best year under Holtz. The 9-3 team beat. Do you buy into the third year theory of now you're having to transition players out from the previous staff? So maybe, as JC was talking about, some of your better players that you've recruited are younger, or how do you see a third year for a coach? Because it seems like, I know I've seen articles written on thebigspur.com, even Gamecock Central, that third year can be kind of pivotal.
Yeah, the third year is really interesting because you're right. Some of the older players are coming in. So a lot of the coaches who were using the convenient excuse of I don't have my guys yet, that's sort of running out at this time. A lot of times what you find out is that the previous coach actually did recruit really well, and it was just a matter of coaching them. Also, in the third year, you start to see the new coach's culture really start to set in, and whether or not people are signing up to actually be here. So I subscribe to that. It's pretty pivotal, and I think by year 3 we can know what's going on. I'm not of the we need more time. You don't need more time after year 3.
Do you think we know what's going on going in? You're saying after year 3 or going into year 3?
I'm saying I'm kind of saying year 2 actually.
Okay.
But going into year 3, you have a great idea of what is that. You don't need, with everything being sped up, we don't need a whole 4 years to figure out is this working or not. We know.
The reason I ask that is I think there are things you know about South Carolina's program, but now there's going to be the gigantic question. And unfortunately, around here, it's because of how it's evolved post Steve Spurrier with Kurt Roper, with Brian McClendon. Mike Bobo, I guess, was the best of the 4 that I'm mentioning here, and then obviously Marcus Satterfield. People are a little jaded. They're hurt because of the offensive coordinators. It's never been consistent. You've seen moments where it's been nice, it's been good, but you haven't seen it. So I think that's the one thing we don't know about this team, and maybe why you're seeing some of the projections as low as they are.
That's a very strong possibility. I mean, again, Dow Loggins has not proven as a college football offensive coordinator. Unfortunately, his track record in the NFL was not very good. So if we even going to move that out the way, then we have an inexperienced coordinator. We assume that he knows what he's doing. We assume that he's going to do well, but that's yet to be determined. He has all the tools in place, meaning for a quarterback. So that's there could be some reason for that. He's unproven.
There you go. 803-404-6100. We'll get back into a little bit of baseball. Let you listen to a little bit of Mark Kingston from yesterday, but I'll leave you in this opening segment with this. This is actually strictly for Hope on our live stream. It just popped up on my agenda. You should be listening to this as well. It's just popped up on my Twitter. Do you know 37 years ago today what happened? 37 years ago today.
What year was that? 84?
Yes, 85-ish.
84, 85.
Well, if it's from Hope, is that the release of Top Gun or something?
Look at you. You keep up with our. Yeah, that's right. That's not from Hope. I was saying it for Hope. I was letting her know 37 years ago today. Top Gun
was released.
Tom
Wow.
Cruise. Yes.
That honestly is mind-boggling.
So
you don't think it's been that long ago?
I've been able to go 37 years without watching it in its entirety.
So you haven't seen Top Gun 2?
Oh no.
And I'm telling you,
no,
it's
no.
almost better than the first. It really, no, you need to. That's one you need to see.
803-404-6100.
Me.
I'm not gonna watch it. Okay. You know what? Might rewatch the Meg tonight.
Really? So
just a
that's
countdown
right there. That just kind of shows the level of intelligence, or
just a countdown. What other mindless
Meg 2 on the way.
Meg looks. They're walking on the bottom of the ocean in some kind of space suits.
Okay, right there. Space suits.
I don't know how to describe it from just the quick 1.5, 2 minute little trailer I read. It's the best way. I did see they
But the
put
fact that you're even interested in saying I might watch it because they're wearing space
well,
suits.
they look like superhuman spacesuits too, because as they were in the ship down at the bottom, one guy just karate chopped a concrete block and it broke in half. So these must be spectacular underwater.
And that is something you would rather watch than, really intricate, exciting, flying and battles of supersonic jets.
And there's some volleyball on the beach that's played as well.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't hurt either.
There you go. Yeah.
That's a solid scene.
Whatever happened to the defensive end? I'll ask Preston that.
We've been waiting since the 6 o'clock hour for that, just so you know.
Well, I wanted to get into it a little bit with JC, but some time gets lost there with
I'm
answers.
telling you, he has gills.
Yeah, but I'll read you the text from yesterday. I'll let you break it down because now there's no longer defensive ends out there. Everybody's just edges.
Don't know what happened.
Just edges. 803-404-6100 is the early game. 107.5 the game.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer.
At 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 the game.
From our side, so with CBS CBS Sports Minute. Well, here's one I never saw coming. Former All-Pro wide receiver Brandon Marshall revealed on the I Am Athlete podcast that he'd possibly unretire to play tight end for Aaron Rodgers. Why would he consider that at age 39? Because he declared, we're going to win the Super Bowl. Oh, and Marshall predicted he'd produce 45 catches and 8 scores. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Get top deals on everything you need to freshen up your yard, like the Cobalt 24-volt string trimmer and leaf blower combo kit, only at Lowe's. Was $199, now just $149. Plus, get your lawn in shape with up to $15 off select Scott's Easy Seed Lawn Repair Mixes. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Scott's offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
At the United States Postal Service, we're reinventing our network to help keep your business moving. With new shipping options to deliver better value, greater flexibility to conveniently reach your customers, more confident shipping with new informed delivery features, and new electric vehicles for a cleaner, brighter future. Fast, reliable, perfectly orchestrated. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/moving forward.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. Did you know that since 2002, more than 2.4 million lottery-funded scholarships such as Life Hope and Palmetto Fellow scholarships have been awarded to South Carolina students? Playing for fun is a win for education. Visit SCEducationLottery.com/educationwins for more info.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go, so I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partner with Beacon. With the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. It's like having my Beacon rep in my pocket 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Now through June, purchase through Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Beacon, always building.
Waper Incorporated on Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia provide great service and top-of-the-line equipment. Skip Skipper and Jay Coleman at Waper Incorporated invite you to join in their 50th anniversary celebration, May 18th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Waper's top-of-the-line vendors will be on site to show you the top-of-the-line products that Waper offers. And while you're there, enjoy some of South Carolina's best barbecue and register for door prizes. Join Waper on Thursday, May 18th for the 50th anniversary celebration from 10 to 3.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring correctional officers, nurses, food services, facilities maintenance, mental health professionals, law enforcement officers, teachers, and more statewide. There are sign-on bonuses for officers, food services, nurses, and law enforcement officers. South Carolina Department of Corrections has great employee benefits like 6 weeks of PTO accrued yearly and police officer retirement. Start a rewarding new career today. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
Gotta go to Galliano.
Interest rates are going up all over town, but Galliana Chrysler Jeep has rates going down, down, down. Now you can finance new Jeeps at 0% APR at Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone. Or you can buy now and pay later with no payments all summer long. And exclusive of that offer, new Jeeps, savings up to 22% off. Yes, 22% off a new Jeep. Lease a new Grand Cherokee, Wrangler, or Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid and save over $11,000. Plus, we'll take any trade in any condition. All trade-ins are welcome. New Jeeps, 22% off, 0% financing, or no payments all summer long.
Gotta go to Galliano.
It's Jeep season at Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone. I-126 Zoo exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or GallianaSC.com. Max savings on Renegade stock number 28520 plus tax and tax. Includes $225 closing fee. To qualified buyers, $27.77 per month, 2,000 borrowed for 36 months at 0 APR with 0 down. Dealer rebates up to $400 per month till September. Subject to lender approval. Offers open buying expires not that.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's time for a First Alert traffic update. As we've seen around the region early this morning, it has been a calmer Tuesday. Now, of course, as we make that push later on, make sure you are staying tuned for anything pertinent to your travels. Also, just a quick reminder, it is going to be hotter today. Always got to keep up that car heat safety as we see temperatures rise. This has been a WIS First Alert traffic update. I am meteorologist Tony Chivaroli.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Because we were in school at the same time, I love throwing these names out at Preston and just seeing the reactions when I mention these. So we went through off air. We were going through the 2003 recruiting class, and again, because Preston and I were in school at the same time and had some mutual friends, and I knew several of the football players, but I knew them off the field. You knew them in the locker room and on the field, and so we were reading some of these names, and I think what you did is you listened to the names in the 02 class and the 03 class and went, oh, I see what happened at the end of Holtz's tenure. I completely understand what happened now.
Bill, they say, what do they say? Hindsight is 2020. I think we can figure out why it didn't go well.
The 03 class, I was reading it to Preston, had Demetrius Summers. Well, we know that Daryl Shropshire, which that story has not turned out well for him. Defensive ends, DeAdrian Coley and Charles Silas.
Mm-hmm. My guys.
Okay. Yeah. Freddie St. Preux.
Freddie P. My dude.
Some wide receivers that didn't last a year.
Did not last a year. I don't even think one of them lasted a calendar year. Not even let alone a season.
Yeah. We were able to go through this and discover a few names here. Stanley Doty in that class as well. So in other words, that locker room was just a mixture of personnel. I mean, like more so than probably you ever have.
Yeah, that's around the time when I was older. I was older and around, and he's like, okay, we're starting to make some interesting choices around here. and to be fair, I think those classes were like highly ranked. So it's like, okay, all right, we're going for it.
Yeah, we're making the push.
Mm-hmm.
No, Jen just walked out. I was going to give Jen a little. Oh, Jen. Now, Friday also marks the another movie release, one that is near and dear to your heart. Can you name that movie? It'll be roughly 46 years ago.
Days of Thunder?
No, not 46 years ago.
Not 46 years. No.
Yeah, I guess maybe not. I guess it wouldn't be 46 years ago.
Was released May 19th, 1977 at the Radio City Music Hall. It was released in Los Angeles on July 29th, 1977. Come on, Jen.
Caddyshack?
No. Come on, Jen. This is right up
Smokey.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I didn't remember that being a summer release, but
1977. Well, you were in college maybe, or I don't know what you were doing. Yeah, it's true.
All right, I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you were.
My oldest sister graduated from college in 77. She's a lot older than I am.
Oh,
I remind her of that recently.
Smokey and the Band.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, Eastbound and Down. I got some music to play after the next break.
Friday. Save it for Friday. Well, you can just have one big Smokey and the Bandit party on Friday.
Oh,
maybe we'll just bring in another little TV, a smart TV, and just set it up in the corner. See if we can locate Smokey and the Bandit. 803-404-6100. So yesterday we got into this discussion a little bit, and we were kind of laughing because you used to recruit defensive ends. The defensive end is no longer in existence, right? Like everybody's an edge, and as Preston pointed out, it's edge and EDGE for whatever reason is all in caps.
All caps. Has to be all caps only.
So Justin sent in this text message yesterday. Let me read the whole thing. A little long. He completely broke it down. And then Coach Max got one, and then I'll just let you go to town.
Mm-hmm.
He says, Matthew Judon a couple years ago got the franchise tag as a linebacker, $14.63 million. Judon got upset, argued he had not dropped in coverage all year. He plays over the tackle and rushes the quarterback, or takes on the tackle or tight end against the run from the line of scrimmage. He said, I'm 275. I'll play with my hand in the dirt. I'm a defensive end, not a linebacker. The Ravens agreed, and the new franchise tag value went to $15.89 million. He goes on to say, with Juden, T.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney, and Khalil Mack, who do they remind you more of? Bobby Wagner, C.J. Mosley types, or DeMarcus Lawrence, Nick Bosa, Robert Quinn types? He says the defensive ends in the past typically got about $1.26 million more heading their way because of name change. Edge rusher really defines that mix of guys, 3-4 rushing linebackers or 4-3 ends. He says that throws 2 of the 3 at the time. So players don't like to refer to themselves as linebackers when in that role because they could be making $1 million mistake. And Coach Mack explains that the edge rusher must be a hybrid player that can play in space, drop in coverage, and rush the quarterback. It allows the defense to go from a 3-man front to a 4 with ease. Mr. Football Guru, give us this new school take on a old school position.
Kalimba Edwards.
Okay.
That's who Kalimba Edwards was. John Abraham. John Abraham, even though he played more hand in the dirt, Kalimba Edwards was that guy. When we were playing a 3-man front, he could be able to, as an outside linebacker, when we wanted to play a 4-man front, he could put his hand down. That makes you very versatile. Obviously, that makes you very valuable. All true. However, everybody is not this dude. So my question still bears. Where are the defensive ends? Because all of you cannot do this. Texter, appreciate your text. Very in-depth, very on point. Everybody who we're recruiting will not fall into this category. There are some dudes who will not be able to go backwards. And I would also argue there are some dudes who shouldn't go backwards. I will never forgive defensive coordinator, Whammy. What's his full name?
Lorenzo Ward.
Why would you ever have Jadeveon Clowney dropping into coverage? Why would you ever think that was a smart idea to put Devin Taylor into the flats? It's a terrible idea. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. And so, yeah, that is the issue. And I guess everybody wants to consider themselves part of this position. This also reminds me of, and I remember this same sort of arbitration happened in the NFL with Jimmy Graham.
Right.
When he was playing tight end, right? And so he was saying his argument was correct, saying you're trying to pay me as a tight end who makes less money when really I play a majority of my snaps detached from the line. And so now we haven't come up with quite a catchy enough name yet because we're still saying detached blocking tight end. We still haven't figured that out. So the next task is for somebody to figure out what do we call pass catching tight ends. They need a better name. They don't have a good name yet.
Well, it's like Jaheim Bell last year. I never listed Jaheim Bell as a tight end. He wasn't a tight end.
What did you call him?
Me personally, I said he's a wide receiver. Line him up if he's got the speed. I've seen him run past North Carolina defenders. I've seen him make plays with his legs. Line him up, and to me, this is last year, but I'll transition to this year. One particular player who I think fits that mold. Well, 2, I guess, but they're already calling Nicholas Harbor a wide receiver. We just went ahead and made that distinction right off the bat. But Jaheim Bell, to me, last year, line him up with Juice Wells, line him up with Josh Vann, and there was your 3-man wide receiving group. And then you could back him up from there. And then if you wanted to go tight ends, you to me, a tight end is more of a blocking guy and a short, kind of a short pass catcher, unless you're just an athletic freak like a Jimmy Graham or a Rob Gronkowski that can go right down the middle of a defense and also has height. I thought Jaheim Bell should have just been a wide receiver, been over there with Justin Stepp the entire time and learn that out, figure that out. Because I never thought, again, hesitant to call people soft, like you said, but I never thought Jaheim Bell was.
He want no parts of blocking.
Was a stick your face in the fan, referencing another coach.
He didn't want to do that.
Yeah. So to me, if you're not willing to block, you're not a tight end. You're not that's part of the description of tight end. You've got to block. You've got to match up, take on the end. Trey Knox this year fits that mold to me.
Of Jaheim Bell?
Yes. Like, I think Trey Knox is going to be a very good player for South Carolina. I don't know how much he wants to get in there at the end of the line and block.
Not very interested.
Yeah. Like, I watched him one of the first plays in the spring game. He was actually split out wide. They threw a screen pass. Didn't go well.
He didn't want to. He didn't.
That to me is how you separate a tight end. And that's why I think this year you look at what South Carolina does with tight ends. Fine, if you want to put them on the end of the line, but unless they're going to throw a serious block in the run game, that's not a. Are you with me on this?
Yeah, I'm with you. That's the thing that would make me think why I would say Gronk is the greatest tight end ever, because he would do that and also be able to go catch passes. Whereas some of those other guys, Tony Gonzalez,
I thought
Travis Kelce,
throw Jared Cook in there.
even Jared Cook, not very interested in blocking on the edge of the line. That's just what a lot of those guys are. And that's why, to me, Gronk is the greatest, and because he fits the description of being able to do both things very well. But to that point, Bill, somebody has to come up with a catchy name for these pass-catching tight ends.
Flex.
Ooh.
We've already started it, basically. I'm
Flex.
I'm stealing to an extent.
So he
but
plays flex.
He's
That's
a
what we're going
flex.
to call it?
Flex
Okay.
player.
All right. I like it. I like it.
Because what is it? What did Deebo Samuel name himself? But that's multi. I can't remember.
Wide back.
Wide back.
He called
yeah.
himself a wide back.
Nah, this is a flex receiver. You can flex him in, you can flex him out. 803-404-6100.
Edge or flex.
yeah. And that's what Trey Knox. You're not going to line up and run power.
Let's just make that a thing. Let's try to make this a thing.
I'm with you on that. All right.
Trey Knox plays flex.
Plays flex. There you go.
Mhm.
803-404-6100. One of the bigger offensive linemen that you might have had to go against that came in. I think he made it. Joshua Malloy, 6'5", 370.
Let me tell you something. That 370 is widely misrepresented. I saw with my own eyes a 4 on that scale. The first time I've ever seen it. I've seen it in real life.
But the 4 was the last number, right?
No, the 4 was the first
I know.
number.
I'm just being smart aleck.
I saw it.
That was just recruiting weight. It was not the Bernie chicken weight. How long did he last?
Josh was there. Josh ended up getting injured. Shout out to Josh. Josh is the one making all the money. I believe he worked for Pepsi for a long time. He's doing tremendous well. Shout out to you, Josh. He ended up getting hurt in his knee, but he really struggled being able to carry that weight. But the rare recruiting where the weight is underreported, you usually don't hear that, but his weight was underreported. I saw that.
803-404.
A 4.
Yeah, a 4. Yeah,
A 4.
Did you feel better about yourself after that?
No, I was like, man, what are we doing? This is I've never seen this before. Never seen the numbers rise up that rapidly.
Yeah, we continue down this path. I'm looking for a few more good names to throw at Preston from previous recruiting classes. Kind of an entertaining little game that I like to play here because I like hearing about some of these guys. We'll get out to the Love Chevy phone lines when we come back. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
We are very social.
At 107.5 The Game on Twitter, 107.5 The Game on Instagram, and 107.5 The Game on Facebook.
Oh, Teddy, did you get my friend request? I'll have to check.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Mother's Day has passed. Your big party has taken place, and now you've got to clean the home. It's time to get in touch with Zerorez. The patented ZR water technology, scientifically proven to keep your carpets, your rugs, your tile, your upholstery all insanely clean and keep it cleaner longer. Don't wait. Call today. Book your appointment, 803-262-4020. Again, that's 803-262-4020, or you can schedule online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for just $129. You want to take advantage of this today. So, again, you can book online, ZerorezColumbia.com, or you can give them a phone call, 803-262-4020 is how you can reach them. Again, scientifically proven with that ZR water technology. It'll keep everything in your house, the carpet, the rugs, the tile, everything looking spotless. Looks absolutely fantastic. And the best part, it does not leave behind a sticky, soapy residue. So, of course, you can roll around on the carpet with the kids. You can feel comfortable with the pets playing. You're going to be just fine. Contact Zerorez today, 803-262-4020, or schedule online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Zerorez, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
Luke Kane from Mosquito Squad helps you fight the bite.
In springtime, new life is everywhere. So we want to help you enjoy being outside without the disease vectors or the bites from those new life insects. So we're going to come in and we're going to barrier treat your backyard. We're going to take care of those pests, and we're going to keep that barrier in place by coming every 3 weeks to ensure that you have the same degree of protection from day 1 to day 21. So it doesn't matter if next week you got a birthday party coming in or you got your kids' baseball team coming over. You're going to have the same protection every day. Call Mosquito Squad today, here to help you fight the bite.
Use the promo code MySquad and get a 10% discount on all services.
If you have tax problems, it can affect all aspects of your life. Now's the time to do something about it. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. Everyone at our firm truly believes we can improve the lives of our clients by eliminating the stress and worry of IRS tax problems. We're a local South Carolina law firm dedicated to resolving your tax problems for good. Simply put, we solve tax problems. So if you're facing IRS tax liens, bank or wage levies, or have years of unfiled tax returns, come meet with us in person. Your first visit is free and confidential. We'll show you how we will solve your problem and how much it'll cost. So don't put it off any longer. Call us now at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to our website at irsproblemsolving.com. It is time to do something about that tax problem. Your solution is right here in South Carolina. So hire a South Carolina attorney. Hire me, John Ecton.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Haley, quote, Navage is the best thing I bought. I love it. My nose feels so clear now and I can breathe. I've been struggling with a stuffy nose for weeks. I bought Navage and it's amazing. Or this one. I use Navage every night, could not imagine life without it. I have 5 cats, and before I found Navage, I was a clogged mess. Now I breathe so much better, unquote. Those are 2 of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Hey, y'all, Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet, quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon. Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City, 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
1075 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's time for a First Alert traffic update. As we've seen around the region early this morning, it has been a calmer Tuesday. Now, of course, as we make that push later on, make sure you are staying tuned for anything pertinent to your travels. Also, just a quick reminder, it is going to be hotter today. Always got to keep up that car heat safety as we see temperatures rise. This has been a WIS First Alert traffic update. I am meteorologist Tony Chivarola.
What we're talking about on 1075 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Well, again, I think, there's a balancing act between being in the moment and understanding we're struggling right now, and we're not playing as well as we want to. We're not winning games at the clip that we did for the first 40-some games of the year. That's obvious, and that's where the frustration comes in. But the flip side of that is looking at the big picture, looking from 20,000 feet at the whole the whole body of work, we still have the number 3 RPI in the country, the number 4 strength of schedule, and that team is still in the building, if we can get them all back at the right time. So, you're trying to balance those two things. There's not a coach in the country every year, if they said with a week to go in the regular season, if we'll give you the number 3 RPI, will you take that? Every coach in America, every team in America will say, you're damn right, I'll take the number 3 RPI in the country with 1 week left in the regular season. So I'm trying to temper the frustrations we all have right now for our struggles with the big picture and the body of work that we've still done a pretty darn good job of putting ourselves in a position that all teams want to be in, where we are right now.
First pitch tonight, Founders Park, 7 o'clock, South Carolina hosting Charlotte. Kate Austin will get the ball there to start for the Gamecocks as they do look to close out the season with some momentum, Preston. And you hear a coach there, and you've been around sports for a long time, you hear a coach there who understands that there's been a lot of great things for this baseball team this year. There's been a lot of great things. Right now is not one of those times. And it's easy in today's age with Twitter, with online presence, with everything, to have the fans, the media get into the head of your team. They know, players know they're struggling.
Yes.
They're not idiots. They are well aware of the score at the end of games. They know what is taking place. They know that things are is slipping away to an extent. That to me is a coach right there, and Mark Kingston, I think, doing his best job, and I'll get your take on it, trying to continue the message of, hey, it's not good right now. Yeah, we're struggling, but good things have happened this year, and we've built a resume that will still get us to the postseason.
Yeah, and I, for one, appreciate the idea that he didn't try and pull some Jedi mind trick and say, like, we're not struggling right now. It's just a few things. He acknowledged it straight up front. We're not playing well right now. We're not winning games right now. And that's not who we've been. This is who we are right now, and hopefully we can get things back on track. I thought that was a very fair way to talk about the team. You really don't want to hear the coach trying to justify where the team is right now. That's not a best position to be in, because he's right. No coach would trade that position to RPI, but he would probably prefer to be winning right now than having to rely on the RPI.
That's the good point. So tonight, again, Kate Austin will get the start for South Carolina. Midweek game. Where do you stand on must-win games? This is some of us learning each other, like must-win games. How do you go about? Because I do kind of put this in a category here where you can stop some bleeding. This would be a bad loss if you lose. Tennessee, I don't want to say it's understandable, but at least that's an SEC opponent. It's a ranked team. South Carolina, by the way, fell to 13th in the D1 baseball poll. This one, though, tonight, you really need to grab.
Yeah, it's important. It's important. We talked all year about one of the things that made this season so successful because they have been able to win these midweek games. And now that we're not winning, we can't go back and say, well, midweek games aren't that important. No. They are important, and they need to go win, especially when the team has struggled to find any terms of success. This is an opportunity for them to get the ship turned around, maybe for the bats to get hot, or for like that pitcher performance that Jamie talked about yesterday when things start to turn around. This is that opportunity. So is it must win? No, because the season's going to continue going on. But for the trajectory that the season is going on, this is very important.
You'd like to gain a little momentum going into the weekend. Mark Kingston yesterday also talking about the weekend rotation and what they plan to do. Obviously, with Noah Hall down and Will Sanders down, the Gamecocks will try to, again, kind of piece together. Eli Jones, not a bad performance, not a really bad performance last Friday night in Fayetteville. Obviously, with Matthew Becker getting the start on Sunday, that didn't go quite as well. But, Jen, let's play number 3 here. This is, again, yesterday, Mark Kingston joining Jay and Terry. This is him talking about the weekend rotation coming up for the Gamecocks versus Tennessee.
Well, I think those guys all pitched as if they should be weekend starters. Again, there's not a tougher place in the country to go pitch at than Arkansas, and they all represented themselves very well. You mentioned Cole Messina being back in there catching. Cole's the best catcher in America. I wouldn't trade him for anybody in the country, and he does have a positive impact on our lineup, on our pitchers. just his fiery demeanor, everything about it. So I think Cole deserves some recognition there. But those three pitchers all pitched like weekend starters at a very high level in a very challenging environment. So at this point, I don't know that you really would want to mess with that. Assuming if Will's back, that he's not going to be at full capacity anyway.
I was going to ask you any update on Will you could give us at this point.
No, just it's a lower body issue, and he's getting evaluated, and that's about all we have at this point.
Is it a toe? Is it an ankle? Is it a shin?
Whole lower
calf,
body.
knee, thigh, hip, lower body?
We will see. I doubt you'll see Noah. Hangnail. Yeah, I doubt you'll see Noah Hall. Who knows on Will Sanders now as South Carolina tries to play it out here. We'll see what happens tonight. Again, 7 o'clock first pitch over at Founders Park, 6:45 pregame right here on 107.5 The Game. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the program. No lower body injuries here. We're good. We've got a back. We got an ankle. We're good. 803-404-6100. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game on demand podcast menu.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Taco Bell. In the morning, Taco Bell keeps it toned down and simple, like the Breakfast Crunch Wrap, with fluffy eggs, sausage, melty cheese, and a crispy hash brown in a grilled tortilla. Nothing too wild, just delicious. Taco Bell breakfast, served until 11 a.m.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are. Madison Gant just walked in. How you doing?
Doing great, Woody. How are you?
Good. Madison, I see your trucks everywhere for Pioneer Tree Service. Tell us some of the people you work with.
We've been very busy with residential and commercial customers.
So, Madison, you're doing the State House, Midlands Tech, City of Columbia, University of South Carolina. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service. And now there's a new little Gant girl, Dawson. We got all the Gant girls in the room.
We do tree removal, stump removal, tree pruning, tree trimming, tree thinning, tree cabling, and we will raise your tree canopy.
And no matter where you live, the Gant girls can get there. So, hey, Gant girls, how do they get in touch with you?
Call us today for a free estimate at 803-794-8253.
Or check us out online at pioneertreesc.com.
Uneven sidewalks, pool decks, or patios? Canty can repair them for just a fraction of the cost of replacement. Call Canty Foundation Specialists today for your free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Uneven concrete can be a dangerous tripping hazard leading to injury. Call the experts at Canty to permanently repair your sinking or cracked concrete. Call 753-1495 or visit CantyCanFixIt.com. Canty can fix it.
Get ready to save with Spectrum One. You get Spectrum Internet delivering fast and reliable speeds for $49.99 a month. Free advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced privacy and security. And a free Spectrum mobile line with unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G. Go to spectrum.com/save more and use the Spectrum One savings calculator to see how much you can save today.
Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
At the United States Postal Service, we're reinventing our network to help keep your business moving. With new shipping options to deliver better value, greater flexibility to conveniently reach your customers, more confident shipping with new informed delivery features, and new electric vehicles for a cleaner, brighter future. Fast, reliable, perfectly orchestrated. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/moving forward.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
Do you have a graduate in your family? Hey, Scott here with Traditions Fine Jewelers, and we have perfect gifts to help celebrate your graduate. Get a box 3-piece pearl set for only $199. 1/2 carat diamond earrings are just $399. Celebrate their journey with a sterling silver charm bracelet and get a $10 coupon towards their first charms. Maybe a lasting gift of gold earrings or charms, or maybe birthstone jewelry. 5134 Sunset Boulevard in Lexington, or in Sandhills Mall by the Fountain. Traditions Fine Jewelers, your graduation gift headquarters.
1075 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
And we have several accidents out there to let you know about. Spears Creek Church Road at Wood Creek Farms, that has been cleared at least, so traffic should be getting back to normal here shortly. Also have a tie-up Lower Richland Boulevard at Garner's Ferry Road, Longtown Road at Lee Road, I-77 northbound at Bluff, Farrow Road at Killian. An accident has been reported there, and one other one to let you know about, and that's Decker Boulevard at Two Notch Road. Your forecast for today, 88 for the high, some late storms, isolated storms tomorrow, a high of 85 and 73, your high for Thursday. Could see some showers around on Thursday. Right now, it's up to 70 at 107.5 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The Early Game with Bill Gunter.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
And Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
South Carolina baseball tonight, 7 o'clock. Again, first pitch right here on 107.5 The Game, 6:45 pregame. Also tonight, you've got NBA playoffs, Denver Nuggets, Los Angeles Lakers. I think I'm buying in a little bit more that I do not want the Lakers to win.
Okay.
Like, there is a developing feeling here as they get closer.
Okay.
It's kind of one of those things where they were in the playoffs. I was like, who cares? And then they won their first series. I was like, okay. And then they knock off Golden State. I'm not a LeBron hater. Don't has nothing to do with that. The Lakers are a team that I've never really cared for. And now those feelings are starting to reemerge. And I kind of don't want to see LeBron win another one.
There you go. I like it. That's a fair point. But also I would like to add in, I'm pro Jokic.
Okay.
I really enjoy watching him play. It's a marvel how a man can play basketball without getting 2 inches off the ground. He throws passes from odd angles, and I haven't seen him smile yet. So I just sort of appreciate his whole get up.
Demeanor.
I kind of like everything about him. He has 2 thuggish brothers that just hang out in the stands.
Yeah, he's the one. Yeah, he's the ones that it's
They're 2 brothers of the element who probably would see you in the back alley or something like that. So I kind of like his whole get up. So I'm pro Jokic. I want to see them. I want to see him succeed, and I want to see the end to the Lakers.
I do feel like I'm walking a fine line. Chris says you literally are a LeBron hater.
It's okay if that's what it is. That's what it is, Bill.
Yeah, there's something there with not wanting to see him claim another championship. The beard looks fake.
Oh, it's the
whole thing going on. I can respect what he's done and who he is as an athlete, like as an overall athlete that probably could have been an incredible flex in football. But I'm getting a little nervous here with the Lakers making a run.
Because you think it might happen.
Yeah.
You think it might happen. Yeah, and then it's going to be really tough to dispute a lot of these GOAT claims because, he's going to have another one. And, if we're just talking rings, he's going to be up there. But I'm with you. To me, when I talk about LeBron, I am talking nothing about he's clearly been successful off the court. He's been amazing. He hasn't gotten in any trouble, especially in light of the Ja Morant conversation. We haven't had any of that with LeBron. He's been fantastic. On the court, tremendous. One of the most unique talents we've ever seen. It's just all the other end. It's the flopping, it's the fake hair. It's all of that that's kind of with me and LeBron. So it's nothing about him. So, yes, essentially, how do I boil that down? Yes, I am a hater.
There was a good article on Awful Announcing the other day about Michael Jordan and could have he handled, because I think this is the problem with LeBron. If LeBron played in the Michael Jordan era, where there's no social media, there's more privacy, I don't think we dislike LeBron the way we do.
That's probably true.
Look, there's a great article on there about could have Michael Jordan, who liked his life very private. He liked to be in the casino at 3 a.m. in New Jersey when they had a game, in New York coming up a few hours later. Could Michael have handled what it's like to be an athlete? We don't know anything about Ja. If there's no social media, we don't know what Ja Morant's doing.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, we know enough, and this is maybe even another feather in LeBron's cap. He's been on stage since he was 17 years old, and there hasn't been any major missteps aside from the announcement or a couple of other things, but definitely nothing criminal, no major things. So for all intents and purposes, is a guy we should be cheering for. However, Bill, I'm with you. I don't really want to see it happen.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. That gets going tonight. You've got that going on. Again, baseball, Heat and Celtics on Wednesday night. We're creeping toward that summer. We'll keep an eye on ACC media days. We'll see ACC spring meetings. We'll see if anything develops there. I did get, somebody sent me in a message, said it was May 16th last year that College Game Day announced their destination for week 1.
Is that tomorrow? Or is that today?
That's today.
Okay.
I don't think that'll happen this year. I think they'll wait a little bit longer. But just an FYI on that, we should start getting some game times in the next few weeks. Settle down. It's just something to discuss because we're going into the silly season. We got other stuff to discuss.
My favorite part of the year, bro.
Yeah, prepare yourself accordingly. 803-404-6100 is the number you can always save. Thoughts tomorrow. We're done.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
What's up, y'all? This Gamecocks wide receiver Juice Wells. You're listening to 107.5 The Game, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus Media Station.
Y'all have a great day. Good seeing you. We will be back tomorrow. Appreciate it.
Yep. See y'all. We'll keep you updated on Larry.
Take care.